Shalom, shalom again. Shalom, shalom, shalom. Get back in there. Mhm. All right. Sister Norma Williams, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Redbeards Racing, Shabbat Shalom, brother, Shabbat Shalom. Brother Stephen Wilson, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom. Jakar 3, Shabbat Shalom. Brother Anthony Glover, Shabbat Shalom. A unique taste of soul. It's a very unique taste. There we go. Wait a minute. There we go. Shabbat Shalom. Sister Cheryl Bright, Shabbat Shalom. Sister Sky belongs to Brother David. Shabbat Shalom, Sister Sky, into your head. Shabbat Shalom. Michael John, man. Michael G, Shabbat Shalom, brother. Shabbat Shalom. Ronnie Rainier, Shabbat Shalom. And to your house and to your Isha, Shabbat Shalom to you all. Simply Hebrewish, Shabbat Shalom, brother. Shabbat Shalom. It's nice to see you again, brother. It's about to get real. Shabbat Shalom. Sister Cassie, wife of Narrow Gate Homestead. Shabbat Shalom, Sister Cassie, and to you, and Brother Rob. Brother Rob, Shabbat Shalom, brother. Shabbat Shalom. Sister Nina belongs to Brother David. Sister Nina, Shabbat Shalom, sister. Shabbat Shalom. Hope all is going well. Hope all is going well. Hallelujah. Colette T, Sister Colette T, Shabbat Shalom, sister. Shabbat Shalom into your head and his house. Shabbat Shalom, I honor you. Ordinary Everyday Life, I like the name. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom from Southeast Indiana. Shalom, Shalom, welcome. I haven't seen your name before, but welcome to the channel. Amelia, Salt and Light Gypsy. Shabbat Shalom, sister. Shabbat Shalom. To you and your head as well. Brother Justin Monroe, Shabbat Shalom, brother. Shabbat Shalom, brother Justin. Elaine Brock, sister. Shabbat Shalom, sister Elaine Brock. Shabbat Shalom. Brother Frank Stockton. Shabbat Shalom, brother. Shabbat Shalom, brother Frank. Hallelujah. Sister Lisi. Shabbat Shalom, sister. Shabbat Shalom. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Hope you had a wonderful, blessed day of rest. I sure did. Somebody calling you? Hope you all had a wonderful day of rest. And today was one of those days. Just starting off in the morning or last night, I actually slept, and I don't usually sleep for more than 5 straight hours on any given day, except for David Freeman. Shalom, brother David Freeman. Shalom, shalom. To the Tracy, Shabbat Shalom. Who belongs to Brother Frank Stockton. But yeah, I usually don't sleep more than 5 hours, 4 hours on any given day at a time. I'm not usually able to sleep for 6, 7, 8, 9, definitely not 9, but even 6, 5, 6, 7 straight hours. This Shabbat, I think I slept for 8 straight hours. which is a rarity. It's a rarity for me to sleep straight. But hallelujah, it happened, and I feel good. I feel good. Today is a wonderful Shabbat, time of rest. Um, Spent some time meditating. I just read really one small section of verse. Am I prepper? Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom. Am I prepper? Since the new world. Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom. So today, yeah, I went on a little walk, and I was just reading just a small section of verses. Sometimes, let me change this up. There we go. Elcal, my brother. Elcal 25. Shabbat shalom, brother. Shabbat shalom. Minister Maccabee. Shabbat shalom. Well, we're coming to the end of Shabbat now. Coming to the end of it, but y'all know what I'm saying. Dope Law, my brother. Shabbat shalom, brother Dope Law. Shabbat shalom. But just spending some time, I read just one small section. Sometimes it's almost like you can feel like you're being led to read just a little bit and really reflect on it. Sister Naomi Israel, Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom. Hallelujah. But it's not usual, Brother Aaron. Most people don't know me as brother. In fact, I have a video coming out about where that name came about. Because I have you ask me, like, what is your name, Chris, or is it Aaron, or is that your middle name? No, it's not my middle name. But I have a story about that, and it's an honorable story, very honorable story. So we'll talk about that. We'll talk about that in a later video or something. One of my brothers. We'll talk about that then. Okay. Maybe it's tough having so many children, but I can tell you are a good father. I like to see a real man who can still be good with the small children. Oh, I love being a father. I love it. I love children. I have a couple of stuff before. How much did you miss? When I downsized, brother, and we'll go back to that, but when I downsized, I actually didn't miss any of it. Like you always, here's how I think. If I can go 2 months without using something, it's probably because I don't need it. When you live, like I look at people who live in like tiny homes or things like that. When we first came here, we were in a 8x16 trailer, and then went to a 12x24, and now it's a big building expanding. But I started to realize, like, a lot of the things I had in my house, I don't need. You just had it. It's almost like you felt like you needed it. And then some things are just easy to replace, like we just bought a coffee maker, not because we actually use it as a coffee maker. We don't plug it into a wall. Coffee makers will destroy your solar. Destroy your solar. Man, they will destroy your solar. But so what we do is we actually use the coffee maker without connecting it. So we have the filter, we have the coffee in it, and we just pour hot water through the top, right onto the coffee grounds, and it filters into our jar or our glass container, and we have coffee. Okay, sorry about that. But I realized, yeah, if you haven't used it in that time, like tools. Now, tools were one thing that I kept. It doesn't matter how long if I hadn't used them for, because a lot of the tools that I had are specific to jobs. Like if you're doing, if you're bleeding your brake line, there's certain tools that you're going to have specifically for that job when you're bleeding brake lines. But there are so many things, or an oil change, little oil change wrench. Okay, Thomas, let's stop. Those oil change wrenches. Yeah, tools are different. But for a majority of household items, like, I used to have, all the different types of Cuisinarts and the juicers and, coffee makers. And then I think I had a cappuccino maker, and I had all this stuff. And I realized, you know what? We make coffee here for 3 years without ever having this coffee maker. It just makes it easier for them now. But we make coffee fine. And actually, what I plan on doing is I'm going to remove the heating element out of the coffee maker, and I'm going to have the back tank. I'm going to keep the pump activated, because you don't know how coffee makers, it pumps the water and then it drops it onto the top of the coffee. Well, I'm gonna remove the heating element, which is where you use most of your electricity. I'm gonna well, if I can bypass it, I'm gonna bypass it. But I'm just gonna likely remove it, solder the wires together so that the coffee, the hot water, boil hot water, pour it in the back, and then it'll pump the water, and the pumps take almost no power at all. Pump the water on top of the coffee, and we have a coffee maker. It's just you have to heat your water first. Because remember, in your coffee makers, you put your cold water on the back, and it superheats it really, really fast. That destroys your power if you're on solar. You will burn through your energy doing that. So I'm just gonna bypass the whole heating element thing and have just a pump active. But if you don't need stuff, and then some of the things, you know what? Some of the things I realized it would have costed me more or taken up more room for me to pack it and bring it than it would for me just to have gotten to a new place and built something else. Countertops or shelving, you have shelving or some things like I realized I'll probably end up destroying this thing in the move. So I'd better just sell it now, and then I can go to a secondhand store and probably find this exact same thing in better condition. I like going to secondhand stores where older people live, older retirement communities, because they have all the good stuff. They have all the stuff that was, they've had it in their family for 50, 60 years, and they kept it in immaculate condition. So, yeah, dressers, we left all of our dressers. We left all of our bedside tables. We left our beds. We left bed frames. We left 2 sets of bunk beds there. We actually gave them away to a friend. We left washer, dryer. I had converted a stand-up freezer, one of those monster stand-up freezers. I could go in there and stand in it. I converted it into a gun safe. Left that. Left the children's bikes. Left all the stuff because I realized, left my rollerblades. I used to be a rollerblader. I know it maybe sound funny, but I knew where I was moving. Oh yeah, her skates too. Left those. We left so much stuff. It just you didn't need it. You didn't need it, especially starting off from the beginning. It's like we have very limited space where we're moving, and I don't want to have to pay. And still, when we got here, we still had to pay for storage for like 4 or 5 months. We still had our storage almost packed up with stuff. Because one thing when you're moving on the raw land is you realize you don't have storage space. You don't have space to just put stuff without it being destroyed, by rain or wind or, So I realized sell the stuff that I just don't need, that I haven't used, sell it. If I don't see myself getting to where I'm going and using it, sell it. And we did. And honestly, it was the best decision because even the things that we brought here, we've probably thrown away $300, $400, $500 worth of stuff by simple rust, something you didn't have in the dry climate in California. Just rust, the moisture in the air, and then bam, your things start rusting. Your metal objects start rusting. I spent quite a bit of time cleaning some of my tools off because of rust. So you just have to understand, and things will rust out here. I mean, if you go and shoot your firearm, and sometimes if you don't oil it down where you touched it, you'll see the rust fingerprints on, your receiver or something like that from, just shooting it. So what we did is we took our food storage, our clothes, and what else we took? Food storage, clothes, prepping items.
Some toys.
Yeah, I am 6'4". Yeah, I am. Yes, I am 6'4", and I was rollerblading. 6'4", 255, and I was a master rollerblader. I could go, and I would go. Jumping, I was that person. I'd be jumping off stuff, off curbs, doing 360s in the air, falling. Yeah, that was me. It was kind of funny, though, because people would be like, "Is that Chocolate Thunder?" Yeah, it was Chocolate Thunder. That was Chocolate Thunder. You just let go by and do the 360. You fall in that person's car. That was me. That was me. Had no problem with it either. And I was good. That was the next thing. I was good. I used to actually play. What people don't know is no secret. I used to actually play in a roller hockey league. I played for 1 year, and I wanted to go back. I just didn't. Life caught up. But I played in a roller hockey league. For those of you who remember inline hockey, Instead of on skates, you did on inline skates or rollerblades. I used to be that person. Took the brakes off the back of my blades, and I was gone. And I was good. More? You want more food? Yeah, that was me. You got a little insight. I'm not afraid. I am not the person that's afraid to try things. I'll try stuff, and a lot of things, you try it, you find you like it. But again, that's like we talked about yesterday. You're told, the social stigma of things like you shouldn't like it. Why should I like it? Because you're black. So I shouldn't like something because I'm black. I had somebody came and told me, it was a white guy. He's like, I've never seen a black guy who could skate like you did. I'm like, I like skating. I actually did not play football. I played college basketball, played high school and college basketball. Although I got 4 football scholarships in high school and never played a down of football. And I got 4 football scholarships. I played volleyball too. I played high school volleyball and got scholarships for high school or for volleyball also. So I like sports. I liked sports at the time. All right, let's see. Right, because I was like, what does that have to do with it? I like the sport. I had to get a scholarship and not play. They saw the coach sent out the high school coach who kept trying to get me to play football sent out a video of me during PE to a college season. They came and were like, okay, let's see this guy play. And during the game, and they were recruiting a couple other players, and they're like, well, he doesn't play. And I'm like, well, what does he play? He plays basketball. So they saw me play basketball, and we're like, well, he can play basketball. He's got footwork. He's got the footwork to play basketball. And I don't know if you noticed, but a lot of guys who play basketball also play football, like Antonio Gates. He played at Kent State, played basketball, starting power forward, but played in the NFL. What? So I just learned during that time, and then they came out and saw me play basketball, and they were like, wow, he can play. So the coach had me come out one of the days, and he's like, run some patterns. And they were throwing me the football, and I caught it. I mean, I got big hands. I could run routes. And I had a brother who played professional football for a little bit. So, it was in my family line. Football was my family line. He played pro football. So it's just been, and he was 6. I think he was 6'6". Bo Jackson would have destroyed me. They wanted me to play tight end and defensive end. But Bo Jackson would have destroyed me. I would have gotten in front of Bo Jackson, taken one hit, and crumbled to the ground and retired. That would have been it. That would have been my whole career. The length of my career would have been that one hit by Bo. Mm-hmm. If you took a full-size freezer and make them safe, I should be able to get a full-size box. Oh yeah, you can do it to a refrigerator. Now the gun or the freezer that I had was probably 8 feet tall. It was a monster freezer. It was probably about 6-7 feet wide. It was a monster. And an old timer had it. He didn't want it, and he's a baby watching me. He paid, we paid $100 for it. Got to the house, had a hard time getting into the house, trying to get through the door. So we had to pull the door off, slid it in, put it upright, and that thing was a beast. It was a beast. So I pulled the motor out of it, pulled all the shelving out of it because it was just too heavy. It was just too heavy. So I pulled the motor out, pulled all the shelving out, pulled all the wiring out, pulled some of the insulation in the back out to lighten it up. But it had a lock on it. It had a nice little lock on it. So, and then having it in the house, it didn't look like you had firearms. And we actually had the cord, and we would actually plug the cord into the wall. It didn't work because all the electronics were pulled out. So if somebody were to and we lived in the hood at the time, so break-ins were a continual, never-ending thing. Although our house never got broken into because everywhere we lived, people were scared of us. They were like, we don't know about this family. The wife wears a head covering, the children wear, head coverings. They wear dresses, and they don't talk to anybody. We stay to ourselves, and people would leave us alone. There was like that always that one or two people in the hood that knew about us, that knew what we were, and they were usually, that one dude, Forrest.
Right.
He was an ex-sniper in the military, in the army. He was a sniper in the army, and he moved back to the hood. And I mean, he had long dreads, and we call him Forrest because this boy could grow some weed. This boy could grow some weed. I'm talking like he didn't grow weed. He grew some weed.
Medical marijuana.
Medical marijuana. And this boy could grow it. I'm talking like grow. So we call him Forrest because his garage is like a forest. That's why we got nicknames back there in the hood. They see something you do like, that's somebody. Some people used to call me Blades. So and then my other name was Mayday. It was Youngblood and then Mayday, but Mayday came in because when they saw me rollerblade, they were like, "Oh, Mayday, Mayday, Mayday!" I was about to crash, so then they called me Mayday back then. No. Oh, Colleen said her sister Colleen said her late husband was a sniper. This boy was dangerous, and nobody messed with him. So then one day he introduced himself to me. He's like, "What you all about?" And I told him what I was about, my history and my belief in the Bible. He was just like, "That's cool." He said, "I'm gonna let you know one thing. If anybody mess with you, let me know." He said, "I don't see nobody messing with you because people just don't know about you." He said, "But if anybody mess with you, let me know." And that was the end of it. We never had any drama or anything. Still, if somebody were to break into your house, what do they see? They see a freezer. They see a freezer. I had a nickname, Dole White, for for a while. But somebody were to come into your house, they come into your house and they see a freezer, and they're like, "Oh, I'm not. I have a limited amount of time during this break-in, and I don't have the time to see what chicken he's got in his freezer. Kind of, roast beef or something like that. What did you do to keep the moisture out of the cell?" It was in California. We didn't have moisture. It was dry. And we lived in a desert region, so it was just dry. We had the dry heat, 110, 115 degrees, and not an ounce of moisture in the air. Ain't that right? Ain't that right? There's just no moisture in the air. You weren't even there. How do you know? How do you know?
That's why we didn't know how to deal with the moisture at first. Like it was a shock when our stuff was rusting.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, what is this?
We came out here and our stuff started rusting. I was like, what the heck? What do you do? And like, oh yeah, it's extremely, the humidity. I was like, oh no, we left it. We couldn't bring it. That thing was too big. We put everything we owned in a 5x8 trailer, a minivan that had the children in, SUV. There's still some wood in there. I turn it off. Same solar. And our SUV, and that's all that went. I mean, we left, like I said, probably 100 cans of tuna. We left sauces. We left a lot of stuff because we couldn't bring it. We had a couple mini fridges. They got left. But then you realize you don't need them. We come out here we bought a mini fridge to use it out here and don't use it. We don't even use it anymore.
I think we used it for like a month.
Yeah, we use it for a month. And we found out that it's better to have for us, using solar, we have chest freezers that kind of open up from the top up. And we use those for our refrigerators. Why? Because the chest freezer holds air in. It holds the coolness in. Every time when you have those stand-up freezer or fridge and freezers, every time you open it, all the air, the cold air just falls out of the freezer. That's why if you open up your freezer, you'll lose a lot of the coldness quickly. But with a chest freezer, because heat rises and the cold air falls down, it stays low. When you open up your freezer, you can be in your freezer and not lose as much cold air. And then you crank your freezer on a couple times, throughout the day, let it freeze, get really, really cold in there, and you can turn it off. There you go. It's like a refrigerator. Stuff stays cold. All right, no connection.
Sometimes it goes in and out.
I don't know right now. Mhm. Right, that's why a lot of classic cars come out from there, Nevada, Arizona, New Mexico, because it doesn't rust. You know, people have their cars out there in their front lawn for 10 years, no rust, and then they take it and restore it and sell it. You know, out here, you leave that car outside for 5 minutes.
Right.
The whole damn thing rusted. You can't open it anymore. It's rusted. But yeah, the verse I was meditating on today, um, sometimes it's just one verse that I spend my time just really just, it just gets me. Is Ezekiel 36, starting at verse 25. Ezekiel 36, starting at verse 25. And I meditated on this verse all day. All day. I went for a walk today. Um, Sat outside. Uh, Prayed. It was just this verse. Just sometimes it does. It's just one little verse you need. Uh, and it's starting at verse 25. It says, "Then will I sprinkle clean water upon you, and ye shall be clean from all your filthiness, and from all your idols will I cleanse you. A new heart also will I give you, and a new spirit will I put within you, and I will take away the stony heart out of your flesh, and I will give you a heart of flesh. And I will put my spirit within you, the Holy Spirit, and cause you to walk in my statutes, and ye shall keep my judgments and do them." But it was just that little section that I had read that it hit me so hard. Um, you know, in this walk that we have, there's, like I said, there's so many distractions. There's so many things that vie for your attention. There's so many things that are no. There are so many things that are there to trip you up. So just meditating on that verse and thinking upon it and saying like, wow, wow. Go through that one.
Yes, miss.
Um, it was just amazing. It was just amazing to have that verse, meditating on a new heart, a new spirit. Um, it was just powerful. It was just powerful. You have to excuse the babies. They're on it right now. Oh, hallelujah, hallelujah. Yeah, that verse is it's becoming quickly one of my favorite verses. If you stay in his ways, he will give it to you. Nobody else can give it to you. He will. And a lot of people today, they walk this faith out to please men. They walk this faith out to please others. But in reality, it's at the end of the day, when you're sitting before judgment, it's gonna be you and the Father. Monty Great from Yacht TV, Shalom. It's gonna be you and the Father when you're standing at that judgment, and just having that verse. Uh, yes, I like. We talked about that one yesterday, actually. Be not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your minds. Yes, there's a lot. As I'm going through this Bible again and really meditating. This last year has been a very powerful year for me with my walk with the Father, in that He's really opened up my eyes to a lot of things that I did not see. Um, Allowed me to understand allowed me to understand the amount of people that can come in and be absolutely fake, get in your face, be fake, get talk about you behind your back, do whatever they want to. I mean, and then just seeing and it hasn't happened to me really, but seeing others suffer due to lies that were spread about them or said about them. I'm just like, dang, that person got lied on and people ran off and believed it. It was powerful. It was powerful. So this year has been a very powerful, well, last year going into this year has been a very powerful year. But right now, we're going to talk about continually um, this country has seen its first coronavirus related death. A person in Washington died. And The West Coast is being. The last I heard, there's a person in New Jersey who is in isolation at a hospital. Washington and Oregon have confirmed cases. California's got confirmed cases throughout the state. Um, I know Hawaii said that they were rationing toilet paper and all that other stuff. They're rationing goods. Stores, I got people send me pictures of their stores now. Stores are starting, people are starting to catch on what's happening, and they're hitting the stores. They're hitting the stores and buying up the things that, right, yeah, people are catching the virus who already been traveling, who didn't even travel to that area. And that's has to do, that incubation period. Whoa, we also had 14,000 deaths from the flu B just since October. Wow. Goodness gracious. So these viruses and sicknesses are running rampant. Are running rampant. And even more now is the time that you want to kind of, it's not moving in fear. You're not fearing. You're not panicking. When you look at the word panic, it talks about it's an uncontrollable fear. It's something that's uncontrollable that causes you to react. Oh my gosh, I gotta go, and they're panicking. Urgency is a whole different thing. It's a whole different way of life. Um, we should have an urgency, not an urgency because the virus is here, but an urgency to serve Yah. Again, the answer to this whole situation has always been come out of her Yah's people. It's always been that. It hasn't changed. It's not like it's a new thing, right? The locust too. Well, in Bakersfield, an 8-year-old died from flu B. Yeah, it's a strain of the flu, which goes to show that these inoculations don't work. Because when they inoculate you, all they do is inoculate you for the previous year's flu. Well, if a new flu comes, you're going to get it. Well, they're inoculating you for the previous year's flu. Doesn't make any sense. 4 infected, 1 death, a 25% death rate, and now in Washington. That's right, Stephen Wilson. That's right. And I'm not here to preach the fear tactic. What I am here to say is this. Even more serious, even more bothersome than the virus is the economic ramifications. Whoa. Right. He said, in my prepper was saying that a water line broke and people rushed to the stores and clean out the water. And that was just a water line breaking, and they would have to boil their water. What's going to happen with this virus? What's going to happen when the economy continues to head down that spiral? I read a report that said that in April, you're going to start seeing shelves be a lot more bare, and not even from people buying goods, but from China's inability to ship out goods. China's not going to have the ability to ship out goods because they're under quarantine. They're not going to work. And you know how this country, hey, stop. You know how this country relies on Chinese goods. You see how we have become so dependent on stuff. Stuff is what drives the world today. Just accumulating. Be a good consumer. Consume, not producer. Consumer. You see the difference there. The consumer is there to consume. The producer produces the goods to be consumed. Well, this country has become a country of consumers. Very little production. Very much consumption. Consuming. Now, what's going to happen when these shelves start going bare? When people stop having the ability? I start to look ahead. And I said, if this virus continues and China continues on its shutdown, can you imagine how your typical everyday Christmas celebrator is going to react when Christmas comes? That's going to be amazing. People aren't going to be able to go into debt to buy stuff because China's not going to be producing it. Huh?
You might ask my sister Cassie. She said our oldest son has it right now in California, but he's doing well. As what?
Sister Cassie, you said your oldest son has what in California? Is it the flu? Yes, yeah, that's right. The medicine, the medical supplies, the thing, Flu B, the things that they're putting in the medicines that everyday people need. What's going to happen with that? Because China produces a lot of the things that go in to the medicines. And China, they're also cleaning money. What they call cleaning it. I call it burning it, but they call it cleaning. That's headed towards a cashless society. I mean, can you imagine? I'm using the excuse we have to get cash off the streets because that's where the virus is being transmitted. People are getting sick just from handling cash. So now we want to remove the cash and have everything be put on cards. I mean, people live that way almost that today anyways, where they do everything on their ATM card, their credit card. I mean, that's right. That's right. Silver cleans it. Red beard's racing. That's right. That's another reason to have some silver rounds, put aside. But with all these things happening, are you watching the shelves? Because that's my biggest concern. Right, all the money will be on a chip. That's right. I mean, how nice of a transition could that be? I'm not saying it is, but how nice of a transition could that be? Where they say, hey, the cash is the issue. We need to withdraw the cash out of the system because people are transmitting it through the cash. And honestly, it kind of makes sense. It does make sense. If you're holding cash, you sneeze. How many times does that dollar bill or 10 or 20? How many hands does it change through its lifetime? I mean, think about it. You take a dollar bill to Walmart, let's just say. You buy something. You give them that dollar bill. They handle it, put it in the drawer. But then 2 customers later, that person buys something and wants change. You go to your drawer and give him that dollar bill. Now he's got that dollar bill that you had. And that thing could exchange hands 5 to 10 times in a day. And let's say somebody is sick who touched that dollar bill. Now you see it. Now I'm a believer in cash. I'm a believer you should have some cash on you. But you see how easy it would be to transmit this thing. But again, what is the economic ramifications of this virus? That's the bigger issue for me. Not, I'm worried, sick people, and there's going to be sick, and I'm worried about sickness. Listen, I know how to quarantine myself. I know how to stay low and live a quiet life and not worry about that. I don't even want to think about what the dogs in a strip club have been. Oh, no. Right. And you gotta think about that sort of stuff. But economically, what could be the outlook of this? Imagine your store shelves bare. Imagine your store shelves bare. Because people go out and buy, but there's no goods being moved from the ports to the warehouses to the stores. There's nothing being moved, nothing being shipped. At that point in time, it's going to be a lot of what did you store up and what did you produce? What did you produce for yourself? What can you produce for yourself? What skills do you have? That would be the bigger question. What skills do you currently possess that can get you through a time? So, using this opportunity to learn, it's a valuable time. It's a valuable time to take this opportunity to learn, to acquire skills, to develop friendships and communities and tribes, because we just don't understand. And I don't think this country in and of itself has an understanding. This country's not, they're very sheltered. This country is very sheltered in regards to sicknesses, pandemics, scary world situations. This country is very sheltered when it comes to that sort of stuff. So they're not going to adequately know how to deal with, right, when the cars start breaking down, there's part shortages. And it's the same thing for the whole automotive industry, whether it be planes, yeah, you said boats, trucks, all those things. What's going to happen? What is going to happen? What's going to happen, let's say, if your truck breaks down and the auto mechanic is not dealing with you. What skills do you have? Can you change your own oil? Something very simple. Can you, do you even know where the radiator fluid goes? And that's why I drive a lot of older cars, because these modern day cars nowadays, that, you know, they require a mechanic for you to do even the simplest things. Even the simplest things. Most people can't cook from scratch. Right. That's right, travel lady. Most people don't even know where their food comes from. They don't even know. The sisters did a video of, not that they didn't do the butchering part, but the processing of a chicken. And we got an email from somebody who was like, that's, you know, cruel and whatever. And I asked the person, do you eat meat? Well, yeah, I love, you know, meat, whatever. And I didn't even respond after that. I was just like, you eat meat. How do you think your meat got to your plate? In fact, a large majority of these facilities that butcher chickens, or the chicken plants, they are brutal to how they do it. So you'll eat that at the store, but as long as you don't see where your food comes from, you're good. Right, they get grossed out cutting a chicken's head cut off, but they sure eat some chicken. Yeah, we did it the humane way, the most painless way you could possibly do it. Right, commercial butchering is horrible. Warmanati said that I hear about the N95 masks being inefficient, ineffective. I have already, yes. Yes. Based on, you know, where I work and what I do, what that had already been kind of come to the conclusion of the masks just don't work. They just don't work. So for myself, again, that's where being able to I don't want to say isolate yourself, but isolate yourself. Being able to quarantine. For me, it's just being set apart. Being able to be set apart and minimize, which is something we should have been doing anyways. We should have been minimizing our need, our exposure, our need to go and do stuff by becoming more self-sufficient. Growing your own food, taking care, instead of every time, you know, a person gets you know, you see people like this today, child coughs, taking you to the doctor. Now you're sitting there in a hospital setting, in an ER, with their child who had a sniffle, because parents today don't even know how to handle that at home. They don't even know how to handle simple situations at home. A cough, a sneeze, a fever. I mean, the child gets a fever, they run to the hospital. I'm like, do you even know what a fever is? You don't even know what a fever is. And there you are in the hospital, waiting 3 hours and then 4 hours, and then getting mad because all I did was prescribe your child a pill. When you could have handled that at home. You know, it's like this whole dependency. It's always depending on everything. Think about if you just had some simple skills, a simple skill of growing your food. How many times did you have to go to the grocery store if you were able to go to your garden and get your vegetables? How many times would you have to go to the grocery store to buy organic vegetables if you were growing your own vegetables? How many times would you have to go to the store or go somewhere for medicine, when a lot of the medicines that you can order them, or your land provides it? Right, yeah, then you expose them to even more stuff at the hospital. They went to the hospital with the flu, come back with herpes, the flu, they're hep positive, all from, you know, they got MRSA, staph infection, all from you. I mean, think of the schooling. We see people today all the time. The school systems are failing our children. No, you're failing your children. You are. You're the culprit. How are they failing them? You're sending them to them. So putting ourselves in the position to raise our own children, right? C. diff, that's right. C. diff runs all through these hospitals. But yet we think it's that's why I say it's still that welfare mentality that people have. Just because you're not getting food stamps and cash aid does not mean you're not still dependent on the same system that you're pointing at those people saying you're dependent on it. No, you are too. My child goes to school every single day. It's their job to teach my child ABCs and 1, 2, 3s. Also, they're teaching my children how to put a condom on. Also, teaching my children that it's completely natural for a boy with a penis to decide he wants to be a girl. That's completely natural. How is that natural? It's not natural. No, and what way is that natural? Do you even know what the definition of natural is? How is that natural? That's like you have a chicken and you're gonna butcher a chicken one day, and your chicken says, "Nah, you can't butcher me. Why can you butcher me? I'm an endangered species. I'm a bald eagle." You'd be like, no, you're a chicken. No, I'm a bald eagle. Honestly, you're a chicken. I am a bald eagle, and therefore you can't butcher me. You'd be like, you about to die. You got to get eaten. In Asia, people fear the hospital because sick people are there, and that's where you get sick. Because that makes sense. It makes sense that sick people go to the hospital. Therefore, if you're not sick, or if you can yourself treat the sickness, you do it. There's a lot of home remedies. In the sisters chat, they spend time like talking about it, right? Talking about the home remedies. No, I'm not a doctor, and nor am I claiming to be one. I am not Doogie Howser. But Yah has provided so many things. Now, the Bible talks about there is a need for the physicians in the Apocrypha.
Nor should people who need surgery be exposed to other things that they are now. Why do they have a facility for just surgery?
Why is it? That's a great point. Why is it in the hospital that if you come into the hospital at night, let's say you're a pregnant woman, they admit you through the emergency room. So I'm a pregnant woman, and right now my child, the last thing they need to do is be introduced to Biggie was not as fly as you. The last thing as a pregnant woman I need is to admit and have my child be around my newborn who's about to enter into this world, be already have to go through the ER. They go through where the MRSA, the hep, the fevers, the flus all are. So they can transmit you to the OB. Or as Sister Zion said, surgery. It's almost like they should have a whole different place for surgery, not connected to the hospital. Because you need surgery and you're in the hospital. And a lot of these people come out, come out of surgery with a major infection.
I was just about to say.
And they say, oh, the infection is because, this, that, or the other. No, the infection could simply be because that doctor who's now in my room was just in the ER checking on a patient. That doctor was in the ER checking on a possible patient and a possible admission into the hospital, and now he's coming up to do surgery.
And these airborne, like,
viruses.
I came to get surgery on this, and I got an airborne virus.
Right. It doesn't make any sense, but they call the surgery room sterile, but yet the surgery room opens up into the main hospital. Right, the original, that's right. Sister Angela said the original definition for hospital was hospice. Meaning you about to die.
Oh, shit. That's deep.
So this is the stuff that, these are the questions that, Monty, stop. No, stop. You're going to sit here and you stop. This is the thing that, because we fail to ask questions, we don't really, for myself, once every 6 months, we'll eat pizza. We'll order it. Although we stopped that recently. We said, you know what, we're not doing that anymore. But like, for a person who eats, the foods that the Most High says I can eat, do you realize that when you go to like a Domino's and they have that little, what they call pie cutter, well, when your pizza comes down the chute, they use the same pie cutter that they just cut that pepperoni pizza with on your pizza. So here they are slicing up your pizza, and it's the same pie cutter that they have cut 200 pepperoni pizzas prior to yours. And then even if they say, because we usually ask for, can you use a different cutter? Can you use a different surface? Don't even put my pizza on the same surface that the other pizzas are. But how do you know they're doing it? You don't really know they're doing it. I know that when I worked at a fast food restaurant, I really wasn't about it like that. Right, and that's Minister Maccabee. That's where we are now. We don't eat out. I mean, I haven't eaten fast food in 13, 12 years. Anyway, so fast food was already out for me. But now it's the issue of, do I really want people preparing my food whom I don't know? People who don't keep the same law that I keep, they're preparing my food. This is stuff that I think about. That's right, tribal lady. They have to use the cheeses with hormones and antibiotics. And then, yeah, right, defiled. Absolutely. The homemade is the best, Sister Cassie. That is right. But because we've lost the home is lost, everything has to be external. We have to buy the food, or we have to go to the Domino's. We talked about fast food yesterday. We have to go do all this stuff that's external because we can't produce. Mikey, I'm doing a live stream. Do you see me doing a live stream? Go. That's why we have to come out of her now. Move to the country, homeschool, because it's not natural. Amen. Amen. This is why we need to make these moves. This is why the coming out process is not just buy some land in the middle of nowhere and live like you did in the city. It's a heart change. That's why when I was reading that Ezekiel 36, he put in me a new heart and a new spirit. I everything in me wants to and is striving to serve y'all better and better and better as best as I can. Not just accepting anything, but serving y'all with everything, with my whole heart. Do you ever think about that? Trusting y'all with all thine heart. You have to love him with your whole heart. What does that mean? In all actuality, what does your whole heart actually mean? If it's your whole heart, how much is left? Nothing. So when people say, well, I think you're going too far with it, I'm like, well, I'm trying to serve him with my whole heart. Well, I don't think you have to leave. Then you don't have to leave. But for me, I'm trying to serve him with my whole heart, with everything that is in me. Well, this person's talking about you. Don't care. That person's talking about you. Don't care. Right, and people tampering with food. I mean, again, I was appalled when I had seen this new trend of people opening up, like ice cream buckets or Listerine bottles and swishing it in their mouth and spitting it back in there, or, opening up an ice cream container, spitting in it, then putting it back in the freezer. And I'm just like, people are that wicked that they are actually going. You're creating wickedness by doing that. You have to be a sick individual to decide, I'm going to open up this ice cream container, spit in it, close it back up, and put it in the shelf. Something is wrong with you. Badly wrong with you. You are demonically influenced. You are filled with demons. It's almost like at that point in time, deliverance ain't going to touch what you got. Deliverance won't touch that because you want your demon. You have to be demonically infested if you're going to decide, I'm going to go spit in this ice cream container. I'm going to swish my mouth out with mouthwash and spit it back into the mouthwash container. That's sick. Right, minimum 5 years. And if you have a disease, you're hep positive or HIV, it should be a attempted murder. Right off the bat, attempted murder. Because we don't know if you had a cut in your mouth when you spit back into that container. Automatic attempted murder. It's sick. It's sick. And we can see this. Here's a bigger issue. My issue is not really them. They're going to do what the wicked are going to do what the wicked do. There's nothing you can do to stop it. You can't stop the wickedness in people, no matter how bad you try. The only thing that you can do is this. Ask yourself the question, what can I do to prevent myself from even having to rely on that system? That system of ice cream or food or whatever it may be. Oh, the answer is, and the answer always has been, come out. If I come out, I don't have to rely on that system. You see, only those that rely on that system will be affected by that system. So then how do I withdraw myself from that system? Oh, I come out of her. Okay. I come out of her. That's what I have to do. If people are that sick in the mind, how easy would it be for somebody to have the coronavirus who's bitter and angry and say, I'm going to go intentionally spread it? I mean, you go to your local grocery store and all the produce is just sitting out there. It's not wrapped up at all. It's just all exposed. Somebody can go through there intentionally and sneeze. Somebody can go through intentionally and cough all over this fresh produce. People wouldn't do that. We used to say people wouldn't swish their mouth out with mouthwash and push it back into the bottle. So you don't think a person who's angry and bitter and wicked would not decide, I'm just going to cough all over the food intentionally?
They already said people do that with sexual partners. Yep. They'll have AIDS, herpes, or something, and intentionally people
right.
Not tell them.
Intentionally have AIDS or have herpes or gonorrhea, syphilis, and intentionally sleep with people to spread it.
Because they're all angry and why
do
bitter. I have it?
Yeah, why do I have to have it and they don't have it?
Else have it?
Right. He slept with 26 different girls and I slept with just 3 dudes and I got a disease. I'm bitter. I'm gonna call him to come sleep with me so I can give it to him. We see this stuff happening. This is the thing of the closing the eyes mentality that we have being in this faith. We see this wickedness. It's almost like you open up the newspaper and you just shake your head like, you get like a sinking feeling, like, yeah, a disgruntled employee. There was just a shooting recently. Milwaukee. It was in Milwaukee. A guy walked into his place of business and killed 5 people. They killed himself. That's a demonically infested person. So then why would you not think people would do this with food? I mean, you hear people like, I opened up a bottle of salsa and it didn't have that pop. I'm just gonna eat it anyways. That happens at work. Like they open it up and it doesn't have that little sound. Right. They'll open it up, which means it's been opened already. It's not airtight. So they'll open it up and like, it still smells good. I'm like, oh, what the? You don't know what the person did to that thing? Right. I saw someone lick his finger to open a bag, then touched about 10 different tomatoes. Right. Yes. You see that stuff. Like, open up the bag, and then they go and touch this and touch that and touch that. Just the idea. And I did this because I'm very much so a social experiment type person. She'll tell you, I'm the type of person, I'll go and sit down somewhere and just watch people. Watch how they act. Watch what they do. Watch how they walk. You'll watch people. I don't know. Try it. I dare you to try it. I encourage you to try it. It takes like 5 minutes. It's a simple social experiment. When you go to the bathroom at a store, or stand outside the bathroom. Don't go into the bathroom. Yeah, forbid, don't go into the bathroom. You're better off peeing behind the building than you are going into one of these public bathrooms nowadays. It's an enclosed area that shares basically the same air with people that are peeing and fecal matter. And I mean, this the video I watched where the guy peed. They did the fluorescent, whatever they call it, and the guy peed in the toilet. The whole bathroom had been cleaned. and you have to use a black light. He peed in the bathroom, in the toilet, in a stall door closed. And they came back like 2 hours later, and there was speckles all over the whole bathroom. Meaning, it was in his pee. Meaning that his pee splashed and went everywhere. All over the whole bathroom. So, hey, you scared about the coronavirus? Yeah, black light. That's what it was. Thank you. The black light. Yeah, and they went in there with the black light, and they were showing it. It was all, the whole stall was like glowing. But then they went further away from it, and you could see the light, the speckles on the ceiling, on the fixtures, near the door. So if you touch anything, you got somebody else's pee on your hands. Now think about that as far as coronavirus spread. Well, so what I did is I went to a store, and I actually did use the bathroom. God forbid, with a damn hazmat suit. Anyways, used the bathroom, came out, but I was like, you know what? I'm gonna follow this man. He didn't wash his hands. I followed him for about 5 minutes. This dude touched about 50 different items. Did not wash his hands. So this man grabbed his penis, used the bathroom, did a little shake. I'm assuming. Left the stall and walked around and touched how many items? How many of these things did he leave, residue from him touching his penis on it? And here we come along, touching those same things.
Why did we have it?
That is true. I peed barefoot at my home. Pee splashes, fellas. Where Minati is true. It does splash. It does. So now, and then, I don't know have you looked at the Walmart that I've gone to? There's a restroom literally 15 feet from the produce aisle.
It's
right. You come in, you make a right, you make a right, there's a produce aisle, you make another right, there's a bathroom. When you come out of that bathroom, literally out on the wall that is connecting to the bathroom, oranges, apples, tomatoes, everything's right there.
In fact, that's that Walmart.
Yep.
Right here's the bathroom.
Yep.
You come out of the stall area, and right there's all the produce. Why do they put the produce back?
Right.
That's so weird.
Right there.
That's true. I never thought about that way.
So that stuff's just flying around in the bathroom, and they open up that door.
There's stuff coming.
And then you got the pressure from the door opening and the door closing, and it pushes the stuff into the hallway. Just from opening the door and closing it from the pressure, pushes it in the hallway, and there's your produce right there. And how many parents grab an apple to satisfy that crying child, or go to the grape container, pop the grapes open, pull the grape out, and give it to their child?
Oh.
Man.
That makes it hard to
It just puts a different spin when you go to that grocery store. Next time you go to that grocery store, just imagine that guy who grabbed that apple, looked at it, and put it back, and it bounced around and hit other apples. Think about that the next time you're shopping for apples. That's why you want to see, I ain't shaking no hands or hugging anyone on Sunday or Monday. I mean, think about this. And yes, eating grapes in the store is stealing. Then they pop the grape, then they weigh it by the pound. So you're eating grapes, walking around, and they'll put it on the scale.
Oh, because you technically, the weight is less now.
The weight's less now. You just stole.
You just like that.
Just like that.
And I've seen people do that where they open up bottles of drinks in the store, and they'll take it and they'll be like halfway full.
Yes.
And so they still pay for the bottle for the actual price.
Yep.
So I just assume when you see people eating stuff, it's the same thing once they take it to scan it. But if they weigh it by the pound, it's a totally different weight. Yeah.
These are the things that we have to consider. This is why the whole idea of coming out of her, it's so much bigger. It's the health ramifications are so much bigger. This is why this coronavirus, the way it's taking root, they're not going to be able to stop it. It's almost impossible. It's almost impossible to stop this thing, especially when you see how people are with their own bodily fluids. It's impossible. Coming out of her means protection. It's such a big thing when you think about the idea of coming out of her, spiritually, mentally, psychologically, financially. It's such a big thing. And that was Yah's way of having a set apart people who would be ready for anything almost, because you're already out. Okay, well, the stores are no longer, they're flooded and they can't, there's no food. Well, I've been growing my food anyway, so no biggie. That may just mean that those things that I do get at the store, I may not be able to get those things anymore. But then you know what? When I go to the store and I look around and I see the things that I buy, all that does is tell me I should grow that. I bought turmeric. Why did I buy turmeric? Because she said, we need some turmeric. So I went to the store and bought turmeric. I'm like, this shit is expensive. This shit is expensive. So I went online. I'm like, okay, so I'm buying this many ounces of turmeric. Went online and said, how much does turmeric cost? Okay, yeah, the initial investment to buy the root is pretty expensive. But how much am I going to be saving in the long run by growing my own turmeric? My own homegrown turmeric in the long run will cost way less than what I'm buying from the store. And it's not even organic, because if I buy the organic shit, I mean, that stuff is even more expensive.
But have you seen the benefits of turmeric?
Yeah.
As far as health?
Right.
So invest in it.
So you invest in this, so you make that investment like, damn, I'm gonna bite the bullet. But you know what? I've invested in other crap before in my life. I used to buy shoes. Well, I never did. But some people used to buy shoes that cost $150. I'm sure you can drop $75, $80 in some turmeric so you can grow your own root and have an unlimited supply of it. Every year you can take cuttings off of it and plant. Just like the ginger. We got ginger sprouting right now. Same thing. Sure, it's a heavy investment at first to buy some organic ginger via the mail. But then guess what? How much do you save in the long run?
You don't just save on you having it so you can grow it and always have it, but with these things that are going around, these are the things that we're healing for us and protection.
Yes.
And that's your health protection right there. Actually investing in your health.
You're investing in your health. Mm-hmm. So the coming out of her, this is why we were never supposed to be panicked. But an urgency, these things should bring an urgency to us to have life changes, not just the whole idea of an immediate change that's going to last for like a diet, like a fad diet. I want to lose 20 pounds. You lose 20 pounds, you put 20 pounds back on. Lifestyle changes. My cousin has every pair of J's, but not land. That was what the brother said. Every pair of J's. He could sell every pair of them J's and probably have a nice 30, 40, 50 acres with the amount, with the cost of those shoes.
At least a down payment.
Yeah. It's crazy. This is what we do. This is how we waste so much. We get caught up in the traditions of men, the traditions that people have. Let me ask you a question. Because I had somebody, who was asking me questions, about cars. And I asked them a simple question. What is the purpose of a vehicle? What's the purpose? And I want to see what y'all say. What is the purpose of a vehicle? Because this will point to how much money we waste on stuff. What? We'll wait for somebody to answer. What is the purpose of a vehicle? To get you there and back. Take you from point A to point B. to transport you faster than you can walk, to get from point A to point B. Transportation, and then you have a truck, to move things. In my case, I would love to have a truck because you can move lumber and material, and I'm always moving that sort of stuff. I find it funny when I see people who have this nice, lifted, big, beautiful truck, and they don't ever use the bed. I'm like, what'd you buy the truck for then? Right, to move you and heavy goods from point A to haul stuff. Those are the reasons people have it. But yet people will go and spend, an absolute abnormal amount of money on the extra stuff on their vehicle. Rims, pinstripes, all the doodads that you can do in your vehicle. I don't understand anymore. I'm just like, but what was the purpose of a vehicle to get me from here to there? Hopefully, if it's cold outside, get me from here to there warm. If I'm really feeling good, get me from here to there warm with some music on.
That's about it, though.
But people spend an absorbent amount of money. You look at the auto industry. The auto industry today is one of the biggest industries as far as debt. You need a vehicle. And especially they do this for poor people. You need a vehicle. They know for a fact that you can barely make the payments. So what do? Sure, we'll sell you the car. We'll sell you the car, and the payments are $345 a month. You can't afford that. But you're going to say, sure. And they know, sucker, here's what we're going to do. We're going to sell you the car, collect a year and a half worth of payments from you. Then you're not going to be able to afford it anymore. So we're going to repossess the car, and then we're going to put it as a lease. Or we'll sell it. Or we'll sell it to Carfax. And they'll make money. So they're going to make double the money for a vehicle because they know you can't afford it. Same thing with houses.
They take advantage of your ignorance.
They take advantage of your ignorance and your desperation.
And your desperation.
Your desperation.
And they feed on the fact that they know that people are going to come into issues at times, and they know that you don't have a savings because they know that people don't plan.
Right.
And if you know that a person doesn't plan, you're like, okay, all we got to do is hit some sort of crisis where the money is a little funny, and that's the time we're going to take it.
Yep.
Because they know for a fact that majority of people do not plan.
They do not plan. And you think about it, you're spending $400 a month for 5 years for a vehicle. $400 a month, and now they have 72-month loans, 6-year loans for a car. When you're done paying it off, because of course you're going to pay the minimum payments. You just paid $65,000 for a $45,000 car.
That's another thing. They get you the APR.
The interest rates.
And a minimum payment.
The down payment.
Yeah.
They do the down. And as one of the brothers said, they keep the down payment too. Right. Only buy new if you will keep it guaranteed for 15, 20 years. In my case, I'm more of a cash. I saw somebody say cash and carry. I'm only going to, how do I join a sister chat? Send a request to the email address. It's in the description. You're going to have to confirm or in some way validate that you are a woman. And then from there, you can join a sister's chat. Because I've had too many men try to get into the sister's chat. I'm looking for me for another wife. I'm looking for another wife for my house. And he poses as a woman to get into the sister's chat. Please. So when I buy a car, like Ronnie Rainier said, I go cash. If I can't buy it right now, I am buying it. Well, and guess what? If you go into the used car market, there's a lot of cars out there that, I mean, you can talk people down from, because especially if you have mechanic skills. The alternator's gone bad. And the person doesn't know anything about cars, but of course I do. So I go there. I'll buy the car, but the alternator's bad. So take off $500 off of it, and I'll do it. I'll buy it. All right. Yeah, I'll do it. All right, thanks. But we're a debt-based society. where everything is based on debt. Black folks, your interest rates will be higher, sir or man. Brother Jamil, tell the truth. Tell the truth. Because these loan companies say you're a higher risk. You're a higher financial risk. So they're going to jack your interest rates up.
You know another thing I noticed?
Yeah, what?
What they do is because they know that majority of, especially black people, won't think about this.
Mm-hmm.
So they have a minimum payment that looks appealing to you because they know you can't afford it.
Yep.
So they give you a minimum payment that's appealing because then it gives you the impression I can afford this because
Yep.
you see that minimum payment. But they know, no, we're at an interest rate and you're gonna pay just the minimum because most black
They
people
know
are
that.
not gonna be like,
Right.
let me drop more than that.
Right.
And they know that they're gonna get that much more money out of you, and then you may not even keep the item.
You're not gonna pay it off.
Mm-hmm.
And then they get you into the trap of you pay off half of the car or you pay off a third of the value of the car, so you're not under anymore, but then you're going to trade it in because you want the newest one. So you go and you buy the newest one and you start your payments all over again. You start your payments all over again. And that's the trap. Once you get in, the only way of getting out is either paying it off or letting it go. You let it go, your credit takes a hit. Credit takes a hit.
Or let somebody else take over payments.
Yeah, or let somebody else take over payments. This is this consumer-based system that we are so accustomed to living in. So when I see things like the coronavirus and things like that, yeah, then there's usury. Yeah, there's a usury issue. And this whole country's based on usury. That's why we're in debt. All these trillions of dollars in debt. Usury. Borrowing. They can print, but we can't. Can you imagine that? Dang, I'm in debt. Hook the printer up. We're just gonna print some hundreds. We'll pay off our debt. That's cool. Dang, I owe. Can you imagine, brothers, those who have school loans? Can you imagine, like, damn, I can't make my school loan payment. Kick on the printer. I'm gonna pay off the school loan tomorrow. Cause I'm gonna print all the money I need to pay it off. How wonderful it sounds, huh?
Or you have a printer, they sell the printing paper at the store.
Right.
Whenever you get in debt, if you can afford to buy this printing paper, you can pay off your debt.
Right. You can pay, you have to buy the right paper though. But if you can afford the paper and the ink, just pay off your debt that way. Just go there and print it all out.
You go to a friend's house. You bought the printer. I buy the ink. There you go. Let's all print.
Go to somebody like, hey, how much is this car? It's $25,000. I'll be back in an hour. Go to Kinko's. Slap that dollar bill down or that 100 down. Print them out. Come on, print them out. Print them out. Fill up, package them in $10,000 bundles. Walk in there like, bam, paid off. Could you imagine that? That's what they do.
Right. That's
what
why
they
they
do.
really don't have no debt. Because they make the money.
Right. It's really not debt.
Yeah.
I mean, they say we're this many million or trillions in debt. It's really not debt because they have the printing press. It's just funny. Like people say funny money. It's just, it's a game. It's like playing Monopoly. Just moving pieces around the board. I wouldn't be surprised if they have the whole world on the Monopoly board and it's got some dice. Oh, I'm buying Park Place. I got it. Oh, you own that? What's the payment? Oh, you have 2 houses on it too? All right, I'm gonna have to hawk off Oriental Avenue, and I'm gonna have to hawk off No, Oriental's gonna be hawked, and Baltic Avenue. I'm hawking off Baltic Avenue. There you go.
Well, they do because
I had to take the house off too. Damn. Because when I play a Monopoly, I'm like, listen, can we just add a side? Listen, let's do some craps. Here's 100. All right, I'll pay your bill. Here you go. I just shot craps. What can I do with that?
You do all sorts of things.
I'll make on my own game of Monopoly. I'll be shooting craps in Monopoly and everything.
If you turn your head, he takes part of your property.
I will take I'm doing what they do. If you go to the bathroom and you own 5 properties, you're going to come back from the bathroom with 4. And one of them's going to be on my side. And you might be losing a couple hundreds too. I mean, that's what they do.
If I go to the bathroom, I take my property, my money, my pieces. I take them all with me just to use the restroom.
She takes her piece because there was one time she came back. She took her money with her, and she came back to the board, and I was like, it's your turn. So she rolls. She's like, where's my piece? I stole it. I was trying to pawn that bad boy. Who wants an extra piece? Who wants an iron? Does anyone want an iron?
Right.
I'll be trying to make some money. I'll be hustling.
Hustler, whatever. But you know, if you think about it, they say that 6 people own every telephone.
Jack Johnson said, "Take a picture of the board before you leave."
Right. I mean, sometimes I be like, we cannot play Monopoly unless we set new rules.
Right.
I gotta
Right.
put rules.
Brother Frank's on it. Listen, I stole your iron. If you want it back, you gotta buy it from me. Otherwise, you out of the game.
Like the person in the hood.
Yeah. Like, listen, I've done that. You need to buy your piece back because I own it right now. That's $200. What? My own piece? Yes. And your get out of jail free card. Stole that too.
I mean, he like, you want to play Monopoly? I said, only if we can make up new rules. And all the rules is banning you from being the banker, ban you from being the property owners.
Yeah, she won't let me be the property owner or the banker. Because if I'm the banker,
He just takes all the
I
money.
just take all the money. Isn't that what they do? Isn't that what they do?
Yes, ma'am.
They take all the money. So why can't I do it? So I do.
Right.
So it's not fun playing the game with me.
No, it is.
Because I'm going to win. I'm going to win. You're going to have to go to the bathroom. You may hit a point where you're looking over here on the board like, I want to buy that. If I'm next to you, I'm like, and then they come back like, I thought I had 3 yellow pieces. I was buying Marvin Gardens because you did. I got the other 2. Now, here's a question. We are not to charge interest. Let me get back to the chat, which I'm no longer in. Sorry, let me get back in the chat, Brother Elkin. All right, here's a question. We are not to charge interest, are we? Sinning by paying interest. Debt is bad enough, but interest compounds and is even worse. I don't think you're in sin. This is the guy said she don't play with her head either. Monopoly. I don't think you're sinning by paying interest. I don't. But the best thing for us, I believe, is we have to stop participating in the game of Monopoly. They monopolize our money. They monopolize our time. Think about it. We would not have to spend so much time on the plantation if we were able to do more for ourselves. We don't do enough for ourselves. We do enough for them. Think about your typical day for those that do work. How much time do you spend for them? Now, how much time do you even have time left for yourself at the end of the day? Do you even have time left for your family at the end of the day? My whole purpose right now of working within the system, yes, charging a brother or sister interest is a sin. Yeah, you can even charge the nations a sin. You can charge those outside interest. If you stopped playing the game and said, I'm no longer going to spend my hard-earned money, my time, I'm spending my time. That's what it is. They pay you for your time. You get how much an hour? You get this much per hour. Or they give you a salary. But they're paying you for your time. Here's the question. How much is your time truly worth? Because once it's spent, you can't get it back. Once you spent that time, and just like as a man, a woman, once you're out of your childbearing years, you spent that time up. You ain't having any more children. Sorry. The time's gone. Once you spent your good years doing the things that you hate, think of the way the system works. Think about it. You spend all your productive, strong years slaving so that you can retire when you're decrepit, you can't move, your back hurt, you're high blood pressure, and you're unable to really do the things that you want to do. That's when you can retire. Bless you, MI Prepper. Bless you. You spend all your great years, women, all your great years, Think about this. All your great years, your childbearing years, you spend them alone and broken and serving a system. Men, you spend all your great years slaving away in a system, trying to get this great grand career together so that when you're 60, you can retire. 60? When you're no longer a threat. When you're no longer a threat to the way they do things. When you can no longer stand up. Then they say, okay, we'll give you money now. Hey, here's some money. Go sit down over there in the corner. Go on your vacation. Go on your cruise ship. Hey, just sit down. You're not a threat anymore. Go sit down over there in the corner. You get to live 5 or 10 more years before you're in a convalescent home. Then you die. And being that I do work closely, I talk to a lot of older people who are, nearing their time. And they all have regrets. And the regrets are they didn't live for anything. They chased money while they were young. And then they wasted the last couple years of their life, what they call a couple. They retire at 55 or whatever. They use those last couple years when they can't do the things they used to do. They're not as strong. Now suddenly they want to do those things, and they're looking at younger people like, man, I wish I had started earlier. I started this life at 30, right? If they give you Social Security, right? And that program looks like it's on its way down. Watch Social Security as the stock market keeps going down. Watch it. This is the life that they have given. This is the tradition of men. This is completely against Yah's way of doing things. Completely against it. We worked for ourselves, and we did. Now you need finances. You need finances. So you're gonna go and you're gonna acquire finances. But think of the system of college. You're a young man, 18 years old. You get out of college, or you get out of high school, immediately you're in college. Already the game started. You go from college, which is debt, to buying or getting out of college, getting a job. But guess what? Now you buying a house, debt. You get married. She wants a $20,000 wedding, debt. Then you go to buying a car for him and her, more debt. Before you know it, you're 30 years old and you are $200,000, $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 in debt. And you spend the next 30 years paying off that $500,000 in debt. And don't let her divorce you in the middle of that process, because now you're acquiring 18 years of more debt paying child support. And for you, man, from the moment you hit 18, you become a slave. And the modern retirement 401k will be a piece of land, garden, flock of chickens, milk goat. That's what we're headed to. That's where we're going. We are going to a time where your retirement is going to be what you have and the relationships that you have. Children are, I hate saying it, but children are a form of a retirement plan. You spend your time raising your children, teaching them morals, teaching them values, so that when you become older, they don't throw you in a convalescent home and give you 2 fingers. We'll visit you 3 times a year. You become a burden to your children. I don't want to. It's my day to have grandma, or my day to have mama, my day to go see mama. Damn. All right, I'll go see mama today. Right. The tradition of Rome. We have taken on to these ways and accepted them as our ways, and then we get caught in the same loop as them. Let's go to the Bible. I got a verse. Give me 1 second. There it is. Ecclesiasticus, Sirach, chapter 33. Look at verse 5. The heart of the foolish is like a cartwheel, and his thoughts are like a rolling axle tree. What does a cartwheel do? It goes in circles. The thoughts of the foolish go in circles. And his heart is as a rolling axle tree. Think of the axle on a car. What does it do? Or the axle on a buggy? It just goes in circles. Think of how we are today. Many of us are breaking the tradition of our generations before us. Hallelujah, Simply Hebrewish. Hallelujah. If you're going to go into debt, that's the best way to do it, honestly. Buy yourself a nice piece of land. If you're going to go into debt, buy yourself a piece of land, pay it off as fast as you can, it's yours. And guess what? You at least have life. With that piece of land, you've got food because you can get seeds. You set up some rain catchment, you got some water. You got food and water knocked out right there. Right there. Food and water. Knocked out. Two of the things that we spend so much money on, food and water. You got a little bit more money, invest, and you are able to, you can invest in solar. Invest in some solar, now you got electricity. Well, I'm not going to have enough electricity to do this, that, and the other. It's probably because you don't need it. Spend more time outside. Part of the reasons of having the land is to be outside. Build with your hands. Well, I need this sort of house. You can get yourself a travel trailer. And you can go from there and start building. And put everything in your house that you want. You want some stairs that go up to the top of the roof for no reason? Put some stairs over there. The biggest slavery there is financial. Bless you, Sister Tribal Lady. She's almost free. Almost. That is the number one form of slavery. See, all this has to do with, when you look at the coronavirus, I don't look at the coronavirus as in and of itself a dire, it's going to affect lives. People are going to be sick. I have every plan in quarantining myself when I see when the certain things I'm looking at and I see those points, I'm closing it down. I have that set up already. But I look at the bigger scheme within that. This virus will destroy the economy. It's already doing it. It's going to prevent goods and services from being shipped. It's already doing that. It's going to prevent people from leaving their homes to go and do things for people that who are reliant on other people going to work. You think about the system we live in, we rely on that. I rely on that person going to work to do his job for me to be able to have what I have. Think of your water and your pipes. If people don't go to work and monitor that, it's out. There's no more water. Now what? If people don't go to work and work on the transformers when that tree falls on the power lines, or work on the power company, how do you get your power? How do you get your heat? Your lights? How do you get it? So that should tell you, okay, lights could be an issue. Well, then why don't I learn a skill of either working with solar, but then eventually your solar panels go out? What about I work on a skill of learning how to press oil? Let me work on the ability to get oil. It's not saying you have to burn your oil lamps today, but have the skill of it so that I can get oil to light up my house when I need to. Do you think land might get cheaper in a financial depression? I thought about that, and then I came to the conclusion, no. I don't think so. I think it'll go up in price. And why? It's because people are going to see the value of it. People are going to want to, I want to get out now. I've done it here. I want to get out of this. But where do I buy? Now, I know some people push it that the land values will drop and drop and drop and drop and drop. I just see the opposite. I think people are going to start seeing the value of land because it's already happening. Land prices out here are starting to go up. Yes, I do have a hand crank oil press. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. And you'd be surprised at how many things have oil in them too, that you can press it out. But these simple skills that we at one point in time had, that we don't have anymore, how do you stay warm if you can't flip a switch? How do you stay warm if the propane truck that you're used to bringing propane to your tank no longer brings it? What happens if they quarantine your area? How do you get the supplies that you need? Brother, I'm gonna do a video of my oil press. Mine, you have to have a candle on it. But you press it out, the candle heats up the oil, so I'll show you everything, brother. I'll show you everything about my oil press. I would have them get it right now, but they're both with the babies right now. But it's in here in the house. I will do a video on it. Yeah, though I think land prices will increase, like Sister Angela said. I believe they're only going to go up. I think they're only going to go up. Use motor oil. Need to learn how to construct a right. I love motor oil. Motor oil is a value here. Just use motor oil. If you want to waterproof something that you're not going to make regular contact with, use motor oil. When I change the oil in my vehicles, I don't just throw it out. I mean, I roll it on to like my wood shed. I just roll on motor oil onto it. I'm not going to make contact with the walls, and I want it waterproof. So in a summer day, you roll it on. The next day, roll on another coat. You just waterproof your wood. And bugs don't want to eat new either. So now it's termite proof and waterproof. Very simple process. But these are these old paths. So while there is the urgency that I'm talking about moving in is not run to the stores and buy everything you can buy. That's not what I'm talking about. If you need to go and top off what you see some holes or deficiencies in your plan, yeah, you can go top off. But right now is the time to start thinking long term. One of the things I used to be a personal trainer, and I used to also write nutritional diet plans for the people that I was training. So I did the whole thing. I didn't just do the training. I would do the nutritional and the eating portion. And I would always tell people, if your plan is to lose 20 pounds by a diet, you're going to put it back on. The only way to lose the 20 pounds and keep it off is to develop lifestyle changes. Develop a lifestyle change. Simple lifestyle changes. How much soda do you drink a day? I drink like 4 or 5 sodas. What? Well, you'll lose 20 pounds with just cutting the soda out then. No, I haven't seen the L count. I will look at that. Thank you. I will look at that. You can cut the soda out of their diet. How many times do you eat fast food? Well, I don't have time to cook at home, so I eat fast food almost every day. So you eat fast food every day and you drink soda 5 or 6 a day. You start drinking soda and you stop eating that fast food, you'll lose 40 pounds. And that's without you ever increasing your metabolism. I mean, come on. So I think for us, we need to develop lifestyle changes. Stop looking for the diet change in our lives. Oh, great. Crap, looks like it's going down. Oh my gosh, I got a panic. I'm going to run and buy some stuff in the store and put it in. That's diet changes. That's a diet. Making an immediate change that's just so you can get through this period of time so that you can go back to your normal lifestyle afterwards. What about a lifestyle change? So you can keep that weight off. Keep that oppression off. Keep that depression off. Keep that wickedness, that sin off forever. Make those changes that aren't going to just benefit your life for a temporary amount of time. Make those changes that will benefit your life for the rest of your life. From now until you leave this earth. Those are the changes that we need to be making. That's what fleeing sin does. When you flee sin, you're making a lifestyle change. When you're fleeing sin because you're in front of other people, you're on a diet. When you're fleeing sin because you want to have a closer relationship with the Father and walk in his ways, in his commandments, in his laws, so you're making those changes, that's a lifestyle change. That's a change of the heart, a change of the mind. When you're making a change simply because, oh, I got company coming over, let me do this thing because I have company coming over, you're making a change that's just temporary. It's a diet. You're doing it for a time to impress somebody, but then go back to your normal self, your normal self. My whole life, since I've been in this faith, has been about making a life change, not a diet, not a quick save me now. I'm panicked. I have to run and do this thing in panic. Right. Stop saying I'm going to lose weight. When you lose something, you go looking for it. I like that. I like that. I'm going to use that. That is good. Stop saying you're going to lose weight, because when you lose something, you start looking for it. You're going to get rid of it. See, I like that, sister. I like that. I like that. You're going to get rid of it. See it as baggage. When you lose your keys, do you go looking for them? Yes. So if you lose your weight, you're going to go looking for it. I like that. I like that. This coronavirus, in all actuality, what it should do is show you yourself. If you run around panicked, you should see yourself. This is a sign of your preparedness, not just for something like this, but it also shows your dependency on the system working and continuing the way it is for you to survive. Which means the very system that you say you hate, you're dependent on. Oh, they're just doing that. We're in modern day slavery. Well, you must like it because you're continuing to stay in it. That's true. Now I have cold turkey some things. I've cold turkey, and I had some miserable migraines. There was a point in time where I was drinking almost, and I'm not even joking. I would be drinking I'd probably say 20 cups of coffee a day. At least a pot and a half of coffee a day. At least a pot and a half a 12-cup pot and another half a day. That's all I would drink every day. When I pulled off coffee, I had migraines 24 hours a day for about 3 weeks. So there is truth. I've seen people who pull off sugar and they can't function because they're so used to having that sugar. If you don't know, about the ATP process and how the body converts calories or carbohydrates into energy. When you drink sugar, which is why sugar is so addictive, an extra process takes place within the body when it comes to sugar. Just sugar, not natural sugar. I'm talking like white, what they call refined sugar. There's a certain process your body goes through. It kicks on certain other receptors in your body to deal with that addictive sugar, which is why you ever try to give something to somebody and it doesn't have sugar in it and they're used to it, they go crazy. I saw a man getting getting the spatula out of the soup bar and eating from it and putting it back in the soup. That's that stuff. That's that stuff. Sister tribal lady, that's what I did too. Oh, the caffeine buildup. Thank you, Sister Angela. For 3 weeks, I had, debilitating migraines. Now I have my 1 cup of coffee a day and I'm good. But I had to cold turkeyed coffee and sugar and alcohol at one point in time because I started to rely on alcohol. I would come home and be, man, I need a drink. If you ever say you need a drink, you may want to check what spirit is behind that need. You need Yah. You need air. You need nutritious food. You don't need a drink. So if your want for a drink has now gone to a need for a drink, you have some sort of spiritual issue where you are relying on that to suppress something, usually a demon, that's inside of you that wants to manifest. That's going into the deliverance. I've been studying a lot about deliverance and the words that we use. I need. The Bible will clearly tell you things that you need. It spells it out, what you need. Men, it tells you what your wife needs. In the Bible. It's right there in the Bible. I have an old school Southern sweet tea at least twice a week. So applicable to everything. Need versus wants. Right. People don't have an understanding of what a need is and what a want is. I need this purse. Need it. Okay. Well, that would mean that you are basing your value on that purse. Your whole value as a person is now based on you having that purse, which means you're pretty shallow, which means you're pretty worthless. I hate to say it that way, but if you need that purse, you're likely worthless as an individual. Now, do you want that purse? Sure, you can want it. There's a lot of things that I want. Do I need them? No. No. Yah's defined pretty adequately what we need throughout his word, what we need and things that we need to do. I would present this. We need to come out of her, Yah's people. We need that. We need to separate from this system as much as we possibly can. We need to become self-sufficient as much as we possibly can. We need it. When my team starts with the I need, I tell them I need to knife hand you, but that probably ain't gonna happen, right? Right. People don't have an adequate understanding of the word need. Huh? You can come in here. Zion is making a special appearance. She's popping out, put the baby asleep and pop out.
No, he's awake.
Oh, he is? Oh, okay. You want to say it?
Yes,
okay, she'll be right back. Right, coming out of her may save your soul. Sister Rashawn, I'm a 100% believer, which is why he says, come out of her, my people, so that you will not be a partaker of the sins or a partaker of the plagues. You don't want to partake of the plagues. You don't want to partake of them. There's something about a voice from heaven saying that lets me know that these plagues are going to be so bad that you're going to want nothing to do with them. Nothing to do with them. So much so that he gave us a warning so that we're not a partaker of these plagues. That's deep. You don't want to be a partaker of a food crisis in the middle of a city, of a lack of goods in the middle of a city. You don't want to partake in that. You just don't. Especially a nation like this that, since the Great Depression, and now we're more spoiled. Well, not we are, I ain't part of that, but now people are more spoiled. They're more dependent. They're more entitled to things. Coming out will save your mind, body, soul, and spirit. It sure will. And you're looking at examples of it. Not even at me, at them. You're looking at examples of what coming out of her will do. It will transform you, especially as a sister. And maybe y'all should do a video on that. It'll transform you as a sister. The coming out process, the realizing, wait, I don't need this, all this stuff on television that we see. You gotta have these long Maybelline eyelashes and this nice flowing weave. Imagine what happens when you turn the TV out. You don't have TV anymore. You can't watch television anymore. So you don't have that influence from the television telling you what you need to look like to look good. How you have to speak to look good. how you have to act to be good. There's nobody telling you anymore. A strong woman is a woman that's got her own. She independent. You got nobody telling you that no more. Go ahead, Sam. What were you gonna say? I'm sorry. I went Alex Jones in her again. I love when Alex Jones do that. Here's Alex Jones. Go ahead.
So
So what you're saying is that we have to be careful. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So in regards to needs,
And when it comes to needs, everybody's got a need. You gotta, I have a need, you have a need, we all have a need. All right, this is Alex Jones from InfoWars signing out. Like, what? The person didn't say nothing. Alex, shut up. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
okay. This is for some of the people who are against like polygyny too.
Oh.
And it's just for the topic of needs as well. But okay. So polygynous people, people who don't believe in polygyny, although they call themselves, we Hebrews, or we the people of the book, they always say that polygyny is not valid because from the beginning of time, Adam and Eve was created in a garden. That's why you need to come out.
Ooh.
Because
they were
in a garden. So that tells me that when you look at needs, you need a garden. If we really want to say we're going back to Yah's ways, he created a garden. So that also does tell you what you need to eat. He had them in the middle of a garden, eating from a garden. So maybe everybody should start growing gardens, and that tells you where you need to eat from. So if you have a need for any sort of something, that's one need you need. You need a garden.
That's true.
And that's where you need to eat from. I don't know, when y'all were talking about that, the needs and stuff, that's what came to mind.
And we need to grow our own food. Those shoes are too big for you, son.
And when men provide food, maybe you need to provide food from your garden.
A simple way of, the Bible says you need to provide food, clothing, and conjugal rights, right? You can provide two of those things already by having a piece of land. You can provide a roof or covering by building your own house, and you can provide food by growing it. Or, in my case, I put the gardens together, they plant them. And literally, Yah sends the rain in his due season. And we receive the increase.
And if you buy land, if you think about it, you don't even have to have a lot of money, right? If you purchase
land. Or a lot of land.
Right.
You don't have to go out there. I know you hear people say, I bought 15, 20, 30 acres, 50 acres. All you need really is one. You can do a lot with one. Now, the more acres you have, the more you can do. The more wooded land that you can have to cut down, and burn the wood, as heat. But you can get away with an acre and some trees and the ability to plant some food.
And then another decent way, because some people are still paying high rent,
right? And
they say I only make $10 an hour or $15 an hour. You could do a lot with $15 an hour.
Oh boy, out here,
$10 an hour, $15. That's a lot of money if you use it right. If you can just have enough for a down payment to get your land, and people talking about they're trying to take care of their family and wives. Just by having land alone, you have the wood you need, not just for burning your heat, but you build houses from wood. If you could invest in a car that costs that much money, or shoes that cost that much money, or add up all your Cuisinarts and it costs the money of you getting a tree and doing your own wood. The tree is on your own property. Literally, you have everything you need. You got the clay in the ground.
People spend more for their cars than we did for our land.
Yes.
By far. People spend 3 or 4 times the amount for their car to get them from point A to point B than we did for our land.
And I don't have that. The car is just one thing.
And most of the shit that people buy is to impress somebody else who don't matter to them. I'm buying rims and putting rims on my car so they can spin, so that I can look good for somebody else who doesn't matter. That's retarded. Right, L count, brother. You're telling the truth, because I'm in that range and what I make. Especially if no or limited debt, $10 to $15 an hour goes a long way. Can you imagine that? let's just say you worked. No, go get your money. Get your money. If you worked, if you work a $15 an hour job, let's just say 10. Let's go with 10. $10 an hour, 8-hour day, $80. Money, go give it to mommy. $400, $400 at the end of the month. I mean, sorry, at the end of the week. Times four, $1,600. So you have $1,600. Let's just say you're not paying much for food. You're not paying lighting. You're not paying heat. You're not paying any of those things. Okay? Most of your food comes from your gardens. You may have to pay car insurance and put some fuel in your vehicle, and some other odds and ends that you need for your animals and stuff like that. Let's say that costs $600. You have $1,000 a month. $1,000 a month after you've paid your bills. Do you know that in this country, it was something like 60% of people don't have $1,000 in their name in case they hit a bad period of time? They don't have $1,000 in their name to get them through a period of time. They don't have it. $1,000 in their name to get them through a tough period in their life. No, it was 69%. No, it was 69%. 69%. 70% of people don't have $1,000 in their name to get them through a hard time. Brother Lamar, shalom, brother. Shalom, shalom, shalom. L count, I'm with you. You say $1,000. I'm like, so when I started scaling back on my bills and looking at my bills, like, wait a minute, I pay $700 a month in rent. Yes, sir, brother Lamar. Yes, sir. Blessings to you, my brother. Go ahead and ask your question. You pay rent $700-800, and apparently that's not even a lot. That's not even a lot of money for people say for rent. $800. You can find land where you are paying literally $350 to $400 a month. Literally. You're making you make $12 an hour, $11 an hour, or wherever you make. You can get those jobs out here and pay half of what you pay for rent. And guess what? Every month you pay, you're getting closer to owning that thing, opposed to just paying for a glorified monthly hotel. And those shoes don't fit you, son. But they don't fit you. He wanted to come show me his shoes. They don't fit you. Okay. No, they don't fit you. Brother Lamar, I am moving out of state this summer and I am saving money. Should I wait till I get to the place I'm moving, then shop for a car, or should I get a car before I leave? I guess I would say it would depend, brother, on, are you moving a lot of stuff? Check the prices of cars where you're moving, opposed to where you are in. I know where you are right now. So check. You know how much a car will cost in your neighborhood. Check to see what the cost. If you're moving to, let's say, I'm gonna make up a place, brother, because I know where you're moving. Let's say Illinois. Check the prices of the cars in Illinois, and then compare them. If you have some things, it might be a little bit smarter to buy where you are. If you can find something that fits what you have, what your needs, and then put yourself in your car, and then drive it out there. That might work a little bit better. Another question: how long of a process did it take to get your land? Are you talking about I am Aliyah? Are you talking about from the beginning to the end? Hallelujah, brother Lamar. That's what I want to do. Hallelujah. That would make the most sense to me, because that would save you the money from having to spend money on a rental truck. Okay, from the beginning of the process, Zion, I need you back. Because when I was working in California, when I was working in Arizona, I just told her what I wanted. Her job, that's the whole purpose of having a stay-at-home wife. How much more do you think I expect now that I have two of them? But it was her job to find the things, and then when I came home, she presented me what she found, and I would go through it. But I didn't have time to look for the listings and all that other stuff while I was still learning how to build houses, watching videos, watching, stuff on how to garden and all that other stuff. I mean, I was pouring into this stuff, studying it. Her job was to make the phone calls, find the land. So she actually found this place. The Rock, she found it. Yah gave me the name, The Rock, right after we filled the paperwork out. Now, I'm not suggesting people do what I did. I bought this land sight unseen. I had never seen. We had a virtual tour that the realtor gave us. He came to the land and walked it and recorded it. He's willing to do that. Walked it and recorded all the things that were on the property and sent us the video of it. But we didn't see it at all until we got here. And we got the name The Rock before we left Arizona. So when I get here, I see one big rock dead smack in the middle of our property. I mean, literally. Dead smack. I was like, that was the father. But I am Aliyah wants to know, how long of a process was it from us looking for land to getting here? No, I didn't go through Land Watch. She found some back. Well, she'll tell you.
Land Watch sucks.
Oh, Zion said Land Watch sucks.
Nah, you're better off looking for realtors in the area and then searching their site and see or lists where some realtors have listings with other ones because they own land in the same properties and stuff like that.
Sit down.
Land
Sit down.
Watch, you will be waiting forever. And every time I looked on Land Watch, I never got anything. And so if you start looking at realtors, or there is actually sites that put together all these listings from all these different realtors, and you search through those, and then they have backdoor sites that you can look at.
Yeah, when you see a piece of land you may like, don't be afraid to click on that person's individual site, because he'll have land that he's not listing on that website. That, let's say maybe the land's been sitting there for years and he's just not. I'm pulling that one off because nobody's buying it. Well, that's how you found her. That's how we found this one.
I kept going to different ones that were connected, and before you know it, I had found one that was pretty good, and it wasn't actually that far from where we are, maybe within a 20-minute range or so, really. And we thought that was pretty good, and we were going to move on it, but I didn't feel like I still did enough of the search, and I presented to him. He said, okay, we're going to check it out. And I didn't feel like I did enough, and I woke up like 3 o'clock in the morning because it was disturbing me. I don't know why, but it was just disturbing me, and I was like, well, let me just keep looking, and let's just see. Let me just see before he calls tomorrow. Let's make sure I did all the searching I could do. And then that's when I ran across this option, this one. And it must have been y'all just lead me right to this one, because this one ended up being a better deal. But what exactly was this?
How long did it take?
Oh, once we were ready to move, when we knew we were about to move, and it only took a couple months. Because he already knew we wanted to move, and once Arizona was out of the picture, it only took us a couple months. To do that and to know which one we picked. Once we made the pick, it was a matter of, we picked the same day that we picked, we told the realtor we wanted it. That same week, we got the down payment, got the money order, got the paperwork that we needed to send. So it was more so of us back and forth with with the realtor. And once we did that, within that same month or the next one, we were already made our down payment, and then they sent us a letter in the mail of when our next payment began, and we just started paying on it before we moved.
Before we moved, we paid for probably 6 months.
Several months. We started in November. We moved in.
Yeah, so more than 6 months. Oh, about 6 months. But we paid about 6 months before we moved. Moved here. My goal was to try and pay the whole damn thing off before we moved here. Y'all had a different plan. And honestly, it makes sense to move while you're paying on it, because if you're trying to pay on it before you move, you're wasting time. You can move to your land, be working on your land and paying it off, or you could be working way over there, not progressing your land at all, and then 3 years later you pay it off and you move on to it. But now you're 3 years behind in what you could have been doing on your land. He simply Hebrewish. I'm gonna say something that most people don't say. Okay, I'm gonna say something that most people don't say. To answer your question, I can say I don't know. I don't know much about the tax deed sale. I don't know much about that. I am not experienced in that, and I'm not going to bullshit you and give you an answer just like I said, like I have the answer and it be the wrong answer. So I don't know. I don't have enough information on that. I don't know um, enough about the idea of it. So I'm sorry, but I can't answer that because I just don't know. I just don't know. Money. Stop. Stop.
Yes. Sister Cassie said land watch is mostly hunting property that you cannot build on until it's paid, and they have contracts that could prevent you from building.
All right, so Sister Cassie posted up a comment about Land Watch. So if you're using Land Watch, please read her comment.
I wouldn't use land watch. That didn't help in any searches
Yeah,
I've done.
it really didn't. It really didn't. Honestly, the best way to get land is to travel to the area. Do you have to pay any bills? What do you mean, do I have to pay any bills? Like, do I have bills? Is that what you're referring to? Like regular bills, or what are you referring to? Because of how we have chosen to live, I have no electric bill. I have no gas bill, gas like natural gas. I don't have a water bill. I don't have a heating bill. The bills that we have are tend to be like the ones you have to. I mean, I guess you have to have car insurance and gasoline to go to work. That's about it. Now can you stop? What are you doing? You just loving it. We have propane in the house for our propane burn or for our propane stove. Well, our propane stove top. But I don't have to buy propane. It's just a lot easier for them sometimes. We cooked on a wood stove before, and you've seen our rocket stove. We cook on that. I buy gasoline for our generator. Every once in a while, we'll kick that on. Especially when you have low sunlight, when you go through a period of time where you have a week full of storms and there's just no sunlight, we use the generator to, well, we have 4 generators, but we'll use one of them to charge our battery bank. I bought portable generators because if I ever was going to go and help a brother on his property, he didn't have electricity, I could bring my generator over there to help him, to get jobs done or whatever, maybe charge batteries, stuff like that. But bills, I'm getting to the point where I'm like, what's that? What's a bill? I mean, then you have your land taxes, you have your, registration fees for your vehicle, things like that. But you kind of get to that point where you're like, what's a bill? Chicken feed for your animals. But again, everything that we're doing, like this year, we're planting a large area of different grasses and stuff like that because I'm going to try and create my own chicken feed for my animals. Right? Yeah. I don't. We really don't want anything simple in our lives. We don't. No, I've had people ask me, "How do you raise 7 children?" And you said you don't make a lot of money. It's very easy, actually. I mean, children should not be breaking the bank. I mean, honestly, children should not be breaking the bank.
They lied to us.
They did. We've been lied to. Bad. Go ahead.
The only reason why children are expensive is because we live in their system and we do not seek the old paths. If we seek the old paths, there's no way that Yah brought there's no way that Yah brought his people from Egypt on foot. All of them, and all they did was have babies.
Right, while they're moving.
Moving on foot with babies.
Moving on foot with babies.
And nobody said, "Oh, you need all this money." No, they just chose to do things for themselves, which allowed them to raise them children. If you got your sheep and you got your own goats and you got your chickens and you have a garden, which is where it starts.
There's food.
Everyone's eating. They don't
Food's
starve.
gone.
The food is here. We got chickens. We got so many eggs. I didn't even know we could get this many
We get
eggs.
over 3 dozen eggs a day. A day. 3 dozen eggs a day. That's why I'm learning how to hatch chickens, because I got so many eggs. I mean, if you fail a day, you're like, "Oh, okay, I failed. I'll just try it again."
Right.
We'll cook. When our eggs fail, we cook them up and give them to the dogs.
Yes.
Hey, dogs, you eat the chicken eggs.
And then we have our chickens that we're killing. So there's meat already.
There's meat.
There's so many eggs. I mean, goodness. So you have your proteins right there,
Mm-hmm.
and other little vitamins. And then you have a garden of greens. And if anyone's watched the channel long enough, you've seen the gardens. So we
We
got
harvested uh 5, and that was at the end of, it was right before a freeze. We were eating on this garden whole, and we tripled our gardens this year. But we were eating on this garden all year. Right before a freeze, right before it was a crappy freeze, like a 21-degree freeze. They let me know, hey, it's gonna be a freeze tonight, and our garden was full of greens. I said, harvest. Actually, it wasn't even full. It was partially full. I said, harvest whatever's left. We'll just harvest it all, and we'll give some of it away rather than let it go bad. But we'll just harvest it all. I don't want this to rot in the gardens. So her and Ripka were out there until 1 o'clock. No, was it 1? It was 3.
yeah, 3.
They're out till 3 o'clock in the morning in the cold, freezing. They harvested greens for about 5 hours. They came back with 5 40-gallon trash bags of greens. 5 of them. We couldn't even eat all that. We had to give it. We had to give some of it away. There was so much of it. So if you're growing your food, growing your greens, and we spend a lot of money for health food. What are you copying me? Yes, you are. We spend a lot of money for healthy food. We spend way more money than we need to for healthy organic food. So then grow it. Or just grow it. And then harvest your seeds. Take those seeds and plant those. And you don't even have to buy seeds anymore at that point. Get a good big squash. When you're growing your squashes, take your biggest squash, when you harvest it, when you cut it to eat it, just take all the seeds out. Dry them. You have enough seeds to last you for the next for us, a year or 2. But you'll have 100 seeds in there. At least. If 80 to 90% are viable, you got 90 seeds in there that you can plant. So the idea, I saw Brother Frank Stockton, he said, don't buy Jordans. You see those parents who buy their children Jordans. I'm like, we have a pair of Jordans. You think I bought them damn things? Hell no. Somebody gave them to us. Have a pair of Jordans. I was like, babe, I'm not having my children wear those shoes. Guess what we're going to do? And guess what we did with them? Just guess. A nice looking pair of Jordans. I'm not going to have my children wear them because we don't wear that sort of stuff. When you can't seem to find a baseball that's been signed, it's on eBay. We eBayed them. And made a ton of money off them too. And they were given to us.
And we intentionally, you can tell that we're not trying to have that stuff because we come across it a lot. People constantly give us stuff. I mean, I don't know, like y'all have done something that people just look at us and just want to give us stuff. I guess they see a family and they see children and they just want to give us stuff. And it's always expensive stuff. And you think we keep it so we can still have the status?
I'm like, wait a minute.
We look at these like, why we got that? We gonna sell this.
Angela said, sold. Right.
We think about how
we
much
get
money.
we get jeans that are like $20 jeans for money stuff. For somebody his size. $20 jeans. For somebody his size. I'm like, you paid $20 for a pair of jeans? If you can't seem to find a baseball that's been signed, it's on eBay. Those are gone too. All that stuff.
Yes.
I mean, $30 outfits. $30, those name brand companies that make like sweatsuits, but for children now, $40. I'm like, what? Money, stop.
What is that? Money. What is that name that people are wearing a lot?
You're asking me?
Oh, well, this one I think you know because it's been talked about. We talked about it before. Trying to think of something that'll make you remember.
Coach?
No. No, not stuff like that. I'll ask Sister Rivka for that.
I have no clue.
The menwear. The menwear, the name that was.
I don't know.
Okay, I'm sorry, I can't think of it.
She
There's a
asking me.
brand.
She asking me about clothing brands. I still call it Dolce and Gabbana. I know it's wrong. I can't remember what it's called. So she didn't ask me.
That's what they call it.
I just found out yesterday. Oh crap! It was
Snapchat.
It was Snapchat. I've been calling it Chap Snap, and nobody ever corrected me. Y'all probably sitting there just laughing.
Think about it. Oh.
But anyways, children are not that expensive. They're not. Now they're expensive if you try to do the way traditional people do things. But if you do things the simple ways, not expensive at all. Parents buying Jordans for their newborns. Right.
Ridiculous.
That's crazy. I mean, it's like a newborn. Listen, let's buy them a pair of socks. If they ain't walking nowhere, I'll buy you shoes when you start walking. Until that point in time, you're right, Brother Lamar, right. You have to make $50K a year for each wife. I'm like, what the hell? What if you're not at $50K yet? You got two. Am I behind the curve? Am I behind the curve? What's wrong with that?
But really, if you want to be able to do your job of providing the food, clothing, and covering, what's that portion?
No, okay, go to your room.
Getting land is like the best thing you can do. Getting land, getting property is like the best thing you can do because everything you put in at that point.
It did start out Snapchat, isn't it?
Oh.
Okay,
Snapchat?
Go ahead.
Oh, but everything you do, if you get land, I mean, and if that's your goal, I mean, the wives, and I can't judge what your goal is for wives, but if you need them, I mean, yeah, get property, and you've already got half of the job done. Now plant your gardens, and get the animals, take care of them, do all that. You'll have what you need.
Right.
They'll be taken care of. You'll be taken care of.
If two women want to join a man's house, how does leadership come in and say he can have them? And that's it. But I'm not really sure what you're saying, Brother Lamar. Can you explain that? But it's really, I mean, you can, can't have them. My that's who. If that's who the person's part of, then that's that. But I agree with you, brother. I agree with you. I agree with you. Well, we talked. I agree with you.
Sister Cassie, I agree.
What?
She said, my head is lucky I'm a cheapskate.
Right. Well, because a lot of these women are it's like they're expensive. Like, listen, I'm not trying to change. If in order to have you part of my household, I gotta change what I'm rolling on. It ain't worth it. It ain't worth it. I'm not changing whether it's your attitudes or finances. The job is for you to come in and assimilate to me and be part of the vision that I have, not for me to change my vision to make you happy. I'm willing to buy, most of my clothes are clearance clothes. Why? I realize I'm not really trying to impress nobody. The people I'm trying to impress already live here. They already live here. And they're impressed. Because they're not looking at my clothes. They're looking at like, look at what he's doing.
I'll say clothes aren't impressive.
Right.
They're like a car. The car gets you to point A, point B. Clothes is just to have covering over your body.
Brother Lamar, you ain't gotta say sorry, brother. You already know. You ain't gotta say sorry. That's not how I roll. I'm a very simple man. I tried the whole running and gunning and trying to impress women by, actually no, I didn't. I'm a failure in that aspect. I never tried to impress women by what I wore or stuff like that. She'll tell you. She'll tell you. I've always been, I say cheap, but people call it frugal. I'm gonna be very careful how I spend my money. Very careful.
Some people do call you cheap. It is kind of funny.
Right. So, Sister Colleen said, Brother Lamar, ask and comment away. Ask and you ain't gotta say sorry for commenting. I mean, I'm gonna live the life that Yah put me on a vision. It's the thing that I think people have a hard time getting. Yah put me on the vision. I'm going in that vision. If people don't like it, I didn't ask them. Nor did Yah come to me and say, hey, make sure that person likes the path that you're on before you walk it. He said, walk this path. I said, okay. He said, go there. I said, okay. He said, make this move. I said, okay. I didn't turn around and say, well, what about, should I inquire? No, go. Okay. And when you get there, inquire on this person. Ask about this thing. I got out here and I had a job in a couple months and I didn't even put an application in. Pastor Fox knew somebody whose parents needed help, so I was helping his parents. And then this man said, wait a minute, you want a job, like a job at a hospital? I was like, sure. And then started that process, and now here I am in the medical field. Now, I worked in the medical field in California also for 3 years, but here I am again. If Yah says it, it's going to happen. It don't matter what people say. It don't matter what people say against you. If Yah says it, it's going to happen. And I just happen to trust Yah's blessings over other people's curses, because people will curse you all day long. I send the curses back sevenfold. I have people talking, and I keep pushing. So I don't really care what a person says. I don't really care if a person don't like it. I don't think any of y'all care. That's why y'all are making the moves. We don't need validation. Well, let's take a vote. I need a 60% vote for me to do this thing. Dang, I only got 59. All right, despite the fact that y'all told me to go do this thing, I only got 59% of the vote, so I ain't doing it. That's madness. Did Yah send you that way, yes or no? Right. Sister Jakar 3 said, it's so comforting knowing all we have to do is obey Yah. Here's the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear Yah, keep the commandments. This is the whole duty of man. Whole duty of man. It's just, there's so much, right now, we have a virus. Right now, we have an economic situation that looks like, at least we have the possibility of stores not having goods. Okay? This is what we're facing right now. All the other stuff is going to become really irrelevant. When it comes to you feeding your family, taking care of your children, taking care right, by faith in Hamashiach. KZ, I've never seen your name before, but bless you and thank you for that comment. Yes, by faith in Hamashiach. Faith. That's the one thing that I see people don't have. We want to see something first before we want to make sure that all of our ducks are lined up in a row and according to our sight. We don't care about faith in the Messiah at all. We don't care in faith in Yah. We don't care what he has to even say about it. Before we make a move, let's ask this question. Before we make a move, how many of us ask Yah earnestly before we ever go to another person and ask him? I ask Yah. I mean, when I read Ecclesiasticus, it says, when it talks about counselors, be careful who you ask. And before anything, pray to the Most High. That's what it says. Before anything, before you seek anybody's advice, pray to the Most High about it. Then you can start, you can seek counsel. But then in that, it says, have one counselor out of 1,000. We have 1,000 counselors out of 1,000. Right. We listen to everybody's word. Everybody who has something to say about our situation, we listen to it. And then we end up double-minded. Well, this person said go this way. Oh, they go this way. I'll go this way. I'll go this way. I'll go this way. I'll go this way. Doesn't matter what y'all said. Y'all said go this way. Go. There's a narrow path Take that one.
And you know what you have shared with us in
Sister Harriet, shalom, shalom. Your comment on the Facebook, what was it? Facebook? No, the comment on YouTube. The one you just posted a couple hours ago. That was a powerful comment, sister. That was a powerful comment. Go ahead.
Yes, miss. Oh, also with that scripture that you were mentioning, it says, above all things, ask the Most High. So that means before even asking you, ask Yah, because he would know, and you have to learn to be honest with yourself. Like I kind of learned, I'm like always a step behind Master, so or some steps behind Master. He go through a situation, and I find myself there, and I kind of piggyback off of what some stuff that I just learned from him, and then I go through the situation, and it helps me through when I'm in that boat, but from a female's version. But anyways, he would tell me all the time, like with some of his situations, when he didn't understand it at first, so he would ask y'all, he think y'all gave him an answer. He said if he was wrong, sometimes he went back and had to question, okay, did I ask y'all which part was his voice? And he said then he said one thing he realized is his weakness. He's like, question, are you even gonna tell yourself the truth about whether you can make this decision or not? He would say, like, I am weak in this area. So if I just ask me, likely I'm gonna be either biased toward myself, or I'm not gonna make the right decision because I want this and I know I want it, and I really don't know.
I want it my way.
I want it my way. I really don't want it y'all's way. I'm trying to convince myself
we think we usher my way. Okay, let me stop. I've gone like 3 streams without singing. Go ahead.
So and so I think that's like a good way too of just really recognizing those things in yourself. And Master, I used to think he was kind of like crazy, like, oh my gosh, because he'd be like, I didn't really want it y'all's way. Like I just lied to myself. I really did want it my way, but
you gotta be honest.
He said I just deceived myself to believe I wanted y'all's way, because you feel guilty if you tell yourself I want it my way. Then you know you're wrong and you feel guilty. He said so you just kind of convince yourself. And he said once I realized, and then you start getting your butt kicked, he was like, I realized I had to be honest. The reason I didn't do it another way is because I wanted it my way secretly, but I tried to convince myself I wanted it Yah's way. And he said that helped him change his view and start seeking Yah for real, and then recognize, okay, this I already know I want my way, so I'm not that I need to take a step back and figure out why do I feel this way. And so when it comes to people asking leadership, ask Yah and be honest with yourself. If you want another wife, take a wife. If you want 3 wives, take 3 wives. But if you know really you can't afford them and like, I can't keep up with 3 wives, then be honest with yourself. I just want more wives, but I can't keep up with them. So let me ask y'all what I need to do to get to that point, or things like that.
Ask Yah. And that's the thing. It's like people are afraid to ask Yah because they're afraid of the answers he's gonna get. I'm not gonna ask Yah because ask Yah. I'm gonna be serious about it. Be like, Father, there's a sister, I like her. Reveal to me yourself whether or not you want this is the way I should be going. And you'll find something out about her. And you got your answer. You got your answer. But what's going to happen is you're going to see that thing. And then what you're going to do is you're going to say, well, I don't think that was the issue. I think it was this. Ask, yeah, have you done that? People are so accustomed. People will come to me and ask me, brother, I like this girl. Should I take? I don't know. Yeah, sure, go ahead. Why are you asking? I don't know the person. I don't know what she's about. You know more about her than I do. I don't know anything about the person. So my answer should really mean nothing. Yes, no, I don't know. I don't know. Do we really ask Yah? And like she was saying, that's why that's why I said this year has been a very powerful year for me. I had to learn to ask Yah and realize the difference between his voice and my voice. Because I realized when I wanted to do something myself, I would ask with an answer already pre-made. Yah's answer is yes. So therefore, when I'm asking him, I'm not really looking for an answer because he's already said yes in my mind. Then I go and I do it, and it turns out wrong. Why? Because his answer was not yes. I didn't care for his answer. And Yah knows your heart. Yah knows whether you actually want the answer or not. He knows the true intent of your asking him. So in your mind, if you're already saying the answer is yes, and I'm just asking him to like meet the qualifications, I guess, or to meet the minimum requirements, he already knows that. He already knows that. So I found out myself, I'm asking, but I'm not asking to actually have Yah's answer. I'm asking only because that's the religious thing to do.
You're asking to consume it upon your
Right.
flesh. You're asking amiss.
Right. You're asking that you're asking amiss. That says in James.
Consume it upon your lust. Because you ain't really asking.
You
You just want to feel good about Yah. See, I asked you Yah, and you want to make it seem like you really serving Yah. And it's like, no, you're not. You were serving yourself at that time.
You're lying to yourself.
Yeah.
It's all that you're lying to yourself. When you ask Yah in sincerity and truth, you'll get an answer. And likely, it's not the answer you were expecting.
That's why we're scared to ask.
Yeah. Because you don't want to hear no. You don't want to hear no. You don't want Yah to tell you no. So you're like, I'm just not going to ask him. Or I'm going to ask him, but since I know Yah's heart because I'm just so good, I already know his answer. No, you don't know his answer, which is why you should ask.
Or you do, because you know, even in your mind, when you're honest
with
yourself,
you're
like, I can tell myself no.
That's like Beyonce coming and being like, Father, Beyonce really, she likes me and she really is interested in the truth. I hear that. Brothers, we got to stop that. And I was that person too. So I'm speaking from experience. We got to stop that mess. Where you see a sister, and in reality, Monty, I'm talking. You see, he just talking over here. You see a sister, and you already have an interest in her. Already. Not because she's walking in the truth, but because she got ass and titties. In the head covering and skirt, she got ass and titties. And you caught up in that mess. So you see that, and then suddenly it's like, and then she tells you the one thing that you men like hearing. I want to walk in truth. I'm interested in the truth. I'm looking at the truth. Something has to do with the truth. So then suddenly the dude's like, I'm interested in a sister, and she's interested in the truth. No, out. Suddenly it's she's interested in the truth. She's brother, she's really interested in the truth. I'm like, is she walking in it? Because I was interested in being president one day. I was interested in being president. No, I'm actually lying. But let's just say I was interested in being president. You wouldn't even know. You wouldn't even be able to tell it. Like, you were interested in being president? So a sister says, I'm interested in the faith. I'm interested in these things. What the hell does that even mean? It doesn't mean anything. So should I try to talk to her about coming to the faith? What? What do you mean? That doesn't make any sense to me. She's interested in coming to the faith, and you're asking me. These are the questions that men are asking. If she's not walking it, then you shouldn't be interested. What? No, she's twerking. She's twerking on it. She ain't interested. She's twerking on it. Oh, God. Oh, my gosh. Sister Angela.
Oh. That was good.
But that's what happens. It's like the Bible says, do not be unequally yoked. If she's just coming into it 26 minutes ago, and that's only because you sent her the message 27 minutes ago, if she's just interested in you stop it. That's all I'm gonna say. Just stop it. Stop it. You're gonna want to see fruit. That's what I look for. I look for fruit. I would say, Sister Cassie, yes, she should already be in the faith. And actively walking in it. Because there's a lot of, I got burned from somebody. I'm interested in being, I'm in the faith. And then you look at them and like, you're not walking this thing at all. At all, you're not walking it. Just because you're subscribed to this person and that person and that person doesn't mean you're interested in it. I'm looking at you and I'm saying you still have no problem acting, dressing, and being caught up in the world. And just because you're subscribed to me and Pastor Dow and Pastor Fox, it doesn't mean that you're in this faith. It just means you may like what we're saying, like what a person's saying. There's a lot of women who are in who are subscribed to a lot of Hebrew teachers, and the only thing they like about it is the pro-black portion. I'm gonna keep it real. They like the pro-black portion. They're not really walking this faith out. They're not walking this faith out. They're not even keeping the commandments. They don't know a lick about submission. They don't know a lick about what it is to be a wife. And that's right, Sister Harriet. Same like men. It's the same thing with men. They're subscribed to all these different people. But yet when you peer into their life, this is why. This is why I'm very, very skeptical. I want to meet a person. I don't want to just talk to you. Right? You mentioned polygyny, they scatter. They're scattering while they're in the faith. They scatter in the faith. But there's a lot of men who are posing. They're posing in this faith. And then I ask you, sisters, with a situation like we see coming down this pipeline, economic a situation, food not on the shelves, and a virus situation, do you really want to be under somebody who's wishy-washy in their faith? Do you really want to be with somebody who's not fully adamant, sold out to serving the Father, sold out to the preparation of his family, sold out to being the head of his home, sold out to the vision that Yah gave him? Do you really want to be linked up with a man like that? These times are too serious to be playing with your soul. But some of y'all are so, I know, sister, I'm not going to mention her name, but sister, you know who you are. We talked, I say about 2 weeks ago. And she messaged me about a situation that she was in. And we talked for about 20, 30 minutes. And she's not in that situation anymore. But it was about a dude who was basically berating her and making her feel like crap because of her past sins, because of situations that she was in or she had been in. She's not in them anymore. And he was making her feel like she was this big when he called himself in the faith. While he was saying that he's in a position to cover her and love her. And he's making you feel like this, and he ain't even married to you. He's gonna make you feel like this when he is married to you. That's a negative. Look at that. See, that's something. That's small. That's negative. He's gonna make you feel like a negative. But he's claiming the faith. He got my fringes. I'm about to go to Jerusalem to learn under the feet of some real rabbis. No, you a damn fool is what you are. Right. If they were real, what skills, Sister Tribal, that's such a good comment. What is his plan to remove you? And if you have a child, what is his plan to remove you from the current system that we serve? Or not, I don't serve it, but that people serve. What's his plan to remove? What's his plan to come out of her? What's his vision? What's his plan right now for the saving of his family in these dire times? What's his plan? Well, we're just gonna pray. We're gonna pray and we're gonna read the word. Okay, but how are we gonna eat? Because praying and reading the word don't bring food on the table. It just don't. What's his plan? And you'll largely find out people don't have plans. Mercy doesn't mean rescuing or living. That's right. That is right. He forgets our transgressions. It's right. He does. He forgives us. He says in Ezekiel, if you turn from your wickedness, I will not remember any of it. But the moment you turn back to your wickedness, I remember none of your righteousness. He says it.
I said, what a balance.
Yeah, it's a perfect balance Yah has. You walk in my ways, I remember none of your wickedness. When he goes, when the devil tries to condemn you, Yah can look at the book and say, I don't see anything. The book of life, and that portion, I just see red. The blood of Yahshua. His sins are covered. What do you mean? Why are you accusing, devil? Accuser of the brethren. You're still accusing. Still accusing. But remember, once you turn from that righteousness, Hebrews 10:26 comes into effect. For if we sin willfully after we receive knowledge of the truth, there remains no more sacrifice for our sins. No more sacrifice means the blood of Yahshua is no longer there because you're sinning willfully. Which is when Yah turns back to your book and looks at it, he can now see your sins. Because the blood of Yahshua has been removed because you're saying, I count the blood of Yahshua for nothing. It means nothing to me. That's why I'm still sinning. Continually, freely, willfully. Okay, go ahead. What she say? What does Sister Harriet
They have a good plan, actually, but all is just a plan. No work.
Right. Yeah. And you, Sister, I'm glad you said Sister Harriet. You also have to make sure this man's actually actively doing his plan. And if you don't see enough proof that he's doing it, then sit back and watch. I'm not saying you have to say, I ain't talking to you no more, but sit back and watch to make sure that his footsteps line up with what he says he's going to do. Because a lot of men will come up with a great plan. We're going to do this. I'm going to buy this. I'm going to work on this. I'm going to go here. I'm going to do that. You look at his fruit, it ain't there. Just like you see a lot of women. Oh, I'm going to submit. I'm going to obey. I'm going to be there. I'm going to do what you want. Do you understand that? Yes, I get it. I just want to be yours. And you didn't check the fruit out. Because you didn't check the fruit out, you get burned. You see, everything, I look at the world as an interconnected thing. Sin is interconnected with our food supply, which is interconnected with our health, which is interconnected with our spirit, soul, emotions, mind, will, everything. I see it as all of it is interconnected. The Bible is an interconnected book. Which is why when you watch people try to take a verse out, I'm like, you can't take that verse out like that. No, you can't, because it's an interconnected book. The renewed covenant speaks from the original covenant. So don't try to pull this verse out from the renewed covenant and have it go against what the original covenant says. Because it's an interconnected book. It's all there. This coronavirus is not, how I see it, an individual thing. It's a connected thing with the economy, with the stores, and it's connected with the warnings that we have already received in the book, which is to come out of her. Come out. Whether this is man-made, whatever, however it's made, if you are not in it, believe me, you don't want to be in it. Because even if it's not a matter of you're affected by the virus itself, you are going to be affected by the economic results from the virus. Do I think that, they're saying that 70% of the people in this country can get it. Am I saying that? No. What I am saying is you're going to feel it economically. You're going to feel it when you go to the store and you're used to going to the store and there's no food in the shelves. You'll feel it then. You'll feel it if they quarantine your city. You'll feel it then. You may not ever get the virus, but you'll feel it when you can't go to work, which means you can't pay your rent. He said aggressively. You'll feel it then when you have to weigh the risk. Do I go to the store and possibly catch it, or do I stay home and not eat? Right, all will be affected, some directly and others indirectly. So no, do I have a necessary fear of the virus? I don't have a fear of the virus, but I am very aware of it as I work in the medical field, and I'm also very aware of the things that are going to be affected because of it. I'm aware of those things, as we all should be. We all should be prepared for that. And it has nothing to do with it being this virus. It could have been anything. We should all have and should be prepared as the prudent man is prepared. He foresees the evil. And we all have eyes to see and ears to hear. We all do. Are we using them? Are we using them? Men, are we using them for the saving of our house? People kill over parking spots here. Right. Brother Lamar, tell the truth, brother. People they murk each other over a parking spot.
Or cut them off.
Yeah, or road rage situations. People, they cut you off in the road and the person's driving behind your car like a madman. People shooting each other in the next car over the fact that they got cut off. What's going to happen when there's no food? And it seems like if it's not one thing, it's the next. The locusts, the economic situation, the virus. China, most people don't even know. A lot of the goods that we get, including food, comes from China. We ship a lot of food over to China for it to get processed in China. A lot of it gets shipped to China for it to get processed, and then they ship it back to us. Well, shipping, they just passed a thing that said any ship, including the military, who has gone and visited a Pacific country has to be quarantined 14 days at sea before they, including the military. Including the military. As Sister Tribal A said, what skills do you have? What skills do you actually possess? Yah has given us a time. There's always a time. He's so merciful that he shows those that have the eyes to see what is coming so that they can take the whatever steps they need to take. Just like the famine. Yah was merciful. He gave Pharaoh the vision. Pharaoh called with the baker. The baker came, and the baker heard it and was like, oh, there's this man I forgot to tell you. There's this man who I met in prison. He interpreted mine and the butler's vision. The baker was killed? The butler was alive. The butler, okay, reverse it. The butler said, yeah, there's this man that we met in prison, and he told me he was able to interpret me and the baker's vision, and the baker got beheaded, just like you said. Just like he said it was going to happen. Pharaoh calls him in. Here's my dream. Can you interpret it? And Joseph, in his humility, telling the truth, said, no, I can't interpret it. But Yahweh will give me the interpretation of your dream, Pharaoh. Pharaoh tells him the dream. Joseph interprets it. And what he said, 7 years of plenty comes first. Then the 7 years of famine. Right, and since the New World, yes, the shipping containers in China that hold perishable goods, they're not being connected in. They're not being plugged in. So you're going to have shipping containers full of rotten produce or rotten food.
But we saw the ones just from all them shipping containers of cherries.
Yeah,
that were
I think they said they had 2,300 shipping containers of cherries that are going to waste. 2,300 shipping containers of cherries that are going to waste.
And then all the eggs that was.
They said millions of eggs. Money, stop. Of eggs going to waste. Millions. That's going to affect the price of guess what? Produce and eggs. You know how big a shipping container is? 2,300 of them were filled with cherries. Cherries, little cherries. Right, and the flooding, that's right, Brother Stephen. The flooding that's taking place in the Midwest, where they're not able, farmers have, listen, we're not even planting this year. We can't. We can't. Our fields are crap. We're not even able to plant food this year. Some have just basically sold out. Listen, we're getting out of the farming business altogether. And then you get the locusts in Africa and are moving into Asia, eating up everything that's green. And here we are, still living the complacent, normal life. Right, no corn, no livestock feed. No corn, hey, ethanol. Ethanol. You could see a spike in gas prices. Yes, do not uncontrollably buy. We're not suggesting, thank you, Westhold Forge, thank you, brother. We're not suggesting you just run out there and just, ring up the credit card with buying stuff. First of all, because you already should have had some things put back already. But what you need to do is be strategic. Have an urgency, but not a panic. Have an urgency, but not a panic. Look those two words up. Urgency and panic. Two different words. Two different actions will come from each individual word. A different action will come from each individual word. Panic is you get up, you just take whatever cash you got in the house, and you just start buying shit. Have no plan whatsoever. You're in a fear frenzy. I'm not saying fear. I'm saying be prudent. Be wise. You know what you eat. Look around your house. Take stock. And don't let this be a diet where you're doing it today. Let this be a lifestyle where you always have some excess stuff in your house. So if something were to happen overnight, you still have the ability to eat and drink and bathe and have soaps and be able to take care of the necessities of your house. That's all that's being asked. That's all that's being asked. Take care of yourself. Men, take care of your home. Take care of your family. And if Yah has put it in you to come out of her. The more of us that are out, the more we can depend on those of us in the faith instead of depending on people that we know don't care for our health. I know. Yes, that's right. Yes, Sister Angela. Urgency is knowing what's a priority and then moving in therein. Panic is just running out there and whatever you can get your hands on, you get it.
That was absolutely good.
Yeah, it was.
What's a priority?
What's a priority? That's an urgency.
You'll start moving in that.
You'll move in that priority.
You'll let go of all those other things.
Yes.
Almost like the Father says in a word about pruning your tree, pruning yourself. You know, if this is usually if you prune, you can grow fruit in those areas.
Right, more abundant.
So those are urgent areas versus some of these other tasks you take on. It's like that's not even important, but you're trying to take that on.
Right.
And you're taking your time away from the important things.
Right, because panic will lead you to do some crazy stuff. You'll go out there knowing that you don't eat pork and grab some pork and beans.
Like I didn't even know.
And have it in your cart and pay for it and go home, and then be faced with that daunting question when you run out of the rest of your food. Do I eat this kind of pork and beans? Yes or no? Knowing you don't eat pork. That's what it'll do. Urgency is knowing, hey, I mean, simple things you can do. Panic causes panic attacks. That's right. The people had a little lunch bag. Uncontrollable anxiety or fear, causing wild, unthinking behavior. Panic. That's why I said look it up. Now, if you can, Brother Jakar, can you type in the definition of urgent or urgency? Type in urgency. Urgency. We're not saying this is not an uncontrollable thing where you're just running around. We're not talking about that. Be urgent. Be prudent. Be wise. They're selling burgers that half beef and half pork now. I didn't even know that. Thank the Father we don't go and buy.
Now they are called hamburgers for a different reason.
I know. They used to be called hamburgers because they're from Hamburger, Germany. Now they're being called hamburgers because they got ham in it. Damn.
They got pork relief.
Things that you can do. Buy some pasta. If you're a pasta eater, buy some pasta. You know, having carbohydrate, having calories in your body, having energy is one of the ways that you can help beat these sicknesses. You need these you need these calories that are going to be burned for if you catch it. Importance causing swift action. That's what urgency is. You see that? Thank you, Brother Jakar. Thank you. Importance causing swift action. That's what urgency is. And then you have panic, which is uncontrollable. So yes, you should make some swift actions if you haven't made any. But you can buy pasta. Buy some pasta. Buy some rice. You know, something simple like you can get some Progresso soup. Progresso soup goes on both noodles and rice. Buy some spaghetti sauce. That goes on noodles and rice. That's what we did. We have a stockpile of that stuff because we can go into our garden. We can go into our garden, have some rice. We can go in and cut up some squash, saute some greens. We done it already. It was good. Put it on top of some rice or noodles. Put some seasoning on it. You got dinner. And you still got your carbohydrates and your vitamins and minerals from your soil, which you're eating in your vegetables. Beans, taters, and cornbread. Yep. Potatoes, cornbread. Simple things. And if you enjoy those things, if you eat them now, it's even better. Because at least it's not going to be a drastic change. I'm used to eating McDonald's and Burger King, and now I have to eat cornbread. Hell no. Or I got to eat rice and beans. Hell no, I ain't eating that. I want some McDonald's. I made that for dinner the other day. Simple living.
Think about where we came from, and even now we eating a little more simpler stuff, and then the gardens will be back in where we can add some things. But we've been making different type of fried rice.
Oh yeah.
And I was thinking, I wish I would have thought of that, or we would have had just with the different seasoning and the onions that we've been making these different fried rice. Yes. And if we would have just had like some eggs to throw in there with those,
it would have changed everything.
It would have changed, yes. So
some
and
fried
we're doing
rice
it
and
now.
some eggs and some onion. When I go to work, that's one of my favorite meals. I found out I liked fried rice with some eggs and some like onions and greens in it. Oh my gosh, that's so good. Some seasoning, some slap your mama. That's what I'm gonna be a panic buying right now.
It's seasoning.
I'm gonna go panic buy and slap your mama. Just that one. Slap your mama. I'm gonna panic buy that one uncontrollably. Just pocketing everything into the cart and running up to that's mine. Slap your mama. I love that season. That'd be a shit hits the fan situation for me just by itself. I experience that regularly. You go to the where it is and the season, you're just like. I need to find an employee. Sir, you gonna slap your mama? You gonna slap your mama? He's like, we got a box in the back. I'm like, I know y'all did. We good. We good. Can I have some? No, sir, we don't have any slap your mama. I just checked the back. Offer slap your mama. He said, Wessel said, shoot, that made me realize I don't have very much sriracha at my house.
You grew enough peppers though to
make your own.
To make your own slap your mama. So.
Yeah. And that's why we actually grew peppers. I looked at the back of the slap your mama ingredients. I'm like, well, I can grow that. I can grow those peppers. And actually last year they made a great basil and mint seasoning. Peppermint, spearmint, and basil, dehydrated and then blended. It's a different, but I thought it was an awesome taste. This year I'm thinking basil, mint, and some dehydrated cayenne peppers, blended. Woo! Oh, Cedric Hatcher, bless you. Bless you. I haven't seen your name before, but bless you. Welcome. He said soy. He's like, give me my soy sauce. He needs some soy sauce. There are 3 parts of our being that require the process of coming out of Babylon. They are spirit, soul, and body. That is absolutely truth. Absolutely truth. You can't come out one part. You know, that when you come out, a lot of people come out one part. Bless you, Cedric Hatcher. Bless you, brother. A lot of people, when they come out with one part. They come out with one part of themselves, but they leave the rest of themselves in it. So they still partake of the plagues and the sins. What? Oh, okay. Never heard of slap your mama. I must really live sheltered life. I've never heard of it. I think what it was is that we had it might have been a feast day or something. Somebody brought it. And I was like, oh, I'll try it. Oh my gosh. I'm used to Pico de Gallo. In the West Coast, they had a seasoning called Pico de Gallo. It's a spicy seasoning. I can't find it out here. It had a little red top on it, a little bottle like that big. I used to eat that in everything, but I can't find it out here. So I needed something to replace it. And I need something that has a little bit of spice to it. Actually, I like it really spicy, but Slap Your Mama doesn't have the spice that I like, but it's got a little bit of kick to it. I mean, mild, but it's good. I like it. It's the best I have right now until I make my own. I like anything with cilantro. Cilantro's not hard to grow either, and it's very healthy for you. Cilantro's very, yeah, parsley, oregano.
Yes,
Those things are very easy to grow. Oh, when I said love pico, yeah, I was a pico fan, man. If I ate food, I would put pico on my pancakes. I mean, now I put Slap Your Mama on my pancakes.
Pico on everything. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. See, I see that pico de gallo on. See, if I could find some that, and not have to pay an arm and a leg, I'd buy it. I love pico de gallo. My goodness.
That's one thing we didn't prep for. We should have.
Yeah, I should have prepped for just having pico. I see Slap Your Mama the first time once I moved to New Orleans. What about Saison? I've heard of that one. I never tried it. I've tried a lot of different spicy seasonings. Most of them are just not hot. They're just not hot. Cajun seasoning. Thank you, Simply Hebrew. It's a Cajun seasoning. And then they have the other one. What's the other one?
Yeah, the one we use is Cajun.
Yeah, what is it called though? What's the name brand version of it?
I can't even think of anything. We got one.
Yeah.
It's called
Yeah. See, that would be a crap business vanity event for me, not having my spicy foods. Oh, Sister Ed, Creole. Creole seasonings. Those are good too. Until we find out that one day it has like shrimp in it, I'll be pissed off.
Oh man.
I've done my research. I haven't seen that it has an unclean food in it, but that's a worry. Sister Angela said cilantro, parsley, and those in that family are excellent blood cleansers.
We grew lots of parsley.
Zatarians, Cajun is good. I never even heard of Zatarians. Fried chicken, green beans, mashed potatoes is what I don't want to do without. So in that case, grow some potatoes, some green beans, and you definitely need some chicken.
Okay, so you buy chicken. You have your own bird.
Yeah.
Flock of birds. You got your chicken, and then you get eggs with that. Green beans are actually pretty easy to grow and good for your soil.
Mm-hmm.
So all you gotta do is let them grow them potatoes.
Yeah, green beans put nitrogen back in your soil. I like curry. Brother Cedric said, somebody blessed me with 36 5-gallon of dried food. Goya. Season all will. Oh my gosh.
Wow.
Woo. That's a blessing. I mean, seasoning, and you think about it. Whenever I include a bucket, whenever I put a bucket away like rice or pasta, I always put seasoning in there. Because seasoning can change food. When we were stuck here for that 3-month period, we were only eating rice. When we first got here, seasoning changed the way the food tasted completely. I mean, having something like, we had rice and cucumbers one time. Just threw some cucumbers in the rice. It was amazing. So in a bad time, having something like a seasoning, something that's to add some flavor, could really be one of those things that really puts your attitude in a different mode. Really. Tony Charcha's seasoning is next level. I had to check that one out. But seasoning, we see everyone's talking about seasonings right now. And as somebody made a comment, that salsa, right? Ribka makes an excellent salsa. So this year I decided to expand my pepper growing. So we tripled it. I'm gonna grow a ton and she's making jar after jar after jar of salsa. Salt, that's another thing.
And I want to do our own ketchup this year.
Yeah, we're doing our own ketchup this year. We're making our own tomato sauce, salsa, and she's gonna be making ketchup this year. All growing here. I gotta grow a lot of tomatoes.
And I want to make the ranch. The ketchup.
Oh yeah, and the ranch.
I don't want them having that type of sugar they put in there.
Yeah.
Ketchup and sour.
Like when we say we're coming out, like we're We're doing everything we can to not have to go to the store at all. That's where we're trying to get to. And now it's gonna take time. Last year, during between April and October, we grew and ate. We ate about 75% of the food that was produced here. Yeah, she pickles food. She pickles it. Picking
Yeah.
up 3 turmeric plants. Yes, I'm growing turmeric. Let me show you all. Show you all this. Some of y'all might have seen it already. This is our garlic. I've been sprouting this and spraying it and spritzing it, but this is our garlic that we're going to be getting in the soil. Look at that.
Garlic?
Ginger. We already have garlic in the soil. We have like 250 garlics in the soil. Look at this ginger. You can see the little spuds right there. So these will be going in. There's a little spud right there. One right there. So this whole bag is full of ginger. And we're going to be planting this actually relatively soon. And then I have turmeric coming. I'm at that point now where it's like, y'all, being his people, y'all's blessed us with the ability to grow food. It says in the Apocrypha, hate not laborious work or husbandry, which the most high hath ordained from the beginning. From the beginning, he himself ordained husbandry. This agricultural life, he ordained it. Oh yeah, the salsa pico de gallo is off the chain. So I'm like, I want to grow I want to be as self-sufficient as I possibly, not because of the coronavirus. That's not my motivation. My motivation is to live a life that he ordained. And guess what? It just so happens that because I've come out, when I see coronavirus, when I see these things, I'm like, oh, okay, well, I'll just stay here. No big deal. I'll just stay here then. No big deal. Continue growing our food. Hey, maybe I'll have more time to expand my garden even more. Maybe I'll have more time. We have huge composting bins of chicken manure. I mean, that just gives me more time to be here at home and start more gardens, to grow more food. So that may be a blessing, so that I may first take care of my house, which I'm told to and commanded to by Yah, but also so that I may have some excess to be able to bless others with, which is my goal. I don't have the finances to bless other people, but what if I have produce? What if I have organic heirloom seeds that I can bless others with? What if I have that? That's my motivation. And I hope it's others' motivation. I hope that we're looking at this thing and we're saying, wow, this is interesting. This is interesting. I mean, on our stove right now, my daughter, she was roasting some black walnuts because she loves black walnuts. They'll go out there, grab them, and I have a big old bucket of them. They'll grab them, crack them, and start eating them. So she was working on some black walnuts this morning, just tearing them up. Tearing them up. We have such an opportunity. Yah is giving us such an opportunity. And even now, we still have the opportunity to get out. You still have it. To come out mentally, spiritually, with our souls, with our bodies, with our minds, everything. Withdraw. Say, I quit. Now, that still may mean you may have to still work in the system for some time to get the finances. It's not a sprint out, it's a come out. So you come out and you start the process and watch Yah bless in a way that because your obedience is fully to him. Right, Sister Colleen, my onions are growing. We planted how many onions? You planted 200 onions. 2 bags, right?
2 bags.
2 bags. We planted 200 onions. We have about 200 to, I would say, I don't know the number, but it's between 150 or 250 of garlic planted. We have greens that made it through the whole winter. We have fig trees, we have apple trees, we have pear trees, We have plum trees. What else, is that all the trees? The land provides us black walnuts and blackberries. We plant blueberry bushes. They survived.
The blueberries?
Yep. I broke one of them. It was still green inside.
We have pear and plum.
Pear and plum.
Pear, plum, apple.
And I'm adding probably another 20 fig trees this spring. Y'all just blessing. He's just blessing. And because we've made, oh yeah, grapes. And we have wild grapes and grapes. Because of the sacrifices that I made in not living and not going after what the system says we should go after, I've had the money to invest in a tree. What would I rather have? A pair of Nikes that cost, let's just say $100. Or with that money, I can get 7, 8 fig trees that are going to be producing me food for as long as, I mean, y'all willing, when they are my age, it'll still be producing food. Or do I buy that pair of Nikes so I can try to impress somebody? That doesn't matter. What do you want? Sisters, when you're looking for these men, a possible husband, ask yourself, do you want a man who's going to look good in a pair of Nikes, or do you want a man who's going to be able to feed you? That's a pretty simple question. Do you want him to be able to feed you good, nutritious food, or do you want him to look good in a pair of Nikes? And I think that's a pretty simple question, but it might cause some women to really stumble on her answer. Well, maybe I do want the Nikes. Maybe the Nikes aren't too bad. I mean, well, can he have the Nikes and a fig tree? And actually, I'm a dibble dabble this year in winemaking. I want to make some wine this year. Because last year we had an abundance of watermelons. So this year it's like, it's time to make some wine. And Pastor Fox made some wine one time, and it was watermelon wine. That stuff was good. And we got blackberries like crazy, and blueberries, and grapes. So I'm thinking, wine. It's time to make some wine. So I'm hoping that this live stream just that's the whole point, is that it just gets you thinking. I don't want to have a live stream talking about, well, the virus is this and it's killing people over here. That's the problem. We are no strangers of discussing the problem. No. We are no strangers to discussing the problem. What about the answer? What is the answer? Why do we continue to ask the question and never seek the answer? Well, there are so many other people wiser than me who I learned from, who have given you the answer spiritually, physically. And I learned from them, and now I'm giving the answer. It's the same answer, basically. It's the same answer. Come out of her. Yah's people. And be ye separate, and touch not the unclean thing, and I will receive you. Yes, Mother Kate's wine is off the chain. It is. Yes, the maple trees. Yeah, syrup. Syrup. Can't wait for that.
Oh yeah, that's.
This year we're gonna be making our own acorn meal and acorn feed for our chickens. I just found that out. You can make an acorn feed for your chickens, and we have abundance of trees. An abundance of trees that produce. We have piles of acorns on our property. I'm upping my onions and garlic. That's what we did this year. Upped it. So let this be a time. Let this not just be a stream where we get on and we just talk and then we get off and we go back to our normal lives. Let it be a stream where we come on, we learn, we help each other, we learn from each other, then we go and we do it. We do what our ancient people did. We do it. Whether you're homeborn or the stranger. You see it, you say, wow, I love Yah's ways. I'm going to go do it. I'm tired of being part of this game. I'm going to do it. Brother David's doing well. He is doing well. Hallelujah. Let's do it. All of us. Brother Matt, he is well. He is well. I vote trees.
Yes.
Oh, you come back? Oh, where you been? Did you fall asleep? You take a nap? She was sleeping. You were sleeping?
She was asleep.
Oh, okay. Oh, she was taking care of both babies.
No.
Oh, she's taking care of one of the babies. Yeah, Ripka just came back out after 2 hours of being disappeared. I'm just saying. Hey, y'all see something I can juggle? Watch. Oh, wait. Oh. Y'all didn't know I had that in me, did you? So if we're stuck on this property, guess what we're doing for entertainment? Cheating in Monopoly and juggling. That's what I'm going to be doing. Cheating in Monopoly and juggling when I'm not working on the house or the and people ask me, how's the house going? The extension's almost closed up. I have one more OSB to put up, and then I'm going to start working on the loft. Well, then I'm going to open up the wall. Since Angela said more skills.
Right.
I learned how to juggle. I just pick up some socks and start throwing them up in the air.
So if you get hit with one, it doesn't hurt you.
Yeah. One whack me in the head, it didn't hurt. But let's be about our some water. Okay, some water. Yeah, water. There you go, son. He drinks from my water bottle. I can't drink out of it myself. If I drink out of it, he has to drink out of it. Oh, this boy be following me. This is the baby badger. For those of you who don't know, this is the baby badger. He is a baby badger. Now I would tell you where I would tell you where we got the name from, but some people might consider it inappropriate. I might just share it anyways. There's some profanity in it, but it's the guy who I'm gonna have to post a link up so that y'all can see this guy talk about a badger, the mother badger, and her baby badger, and the baby badger acted just like him. So we're like, baby badger. Well, actually, the mother, the badger acted. The badger. It wasn't the mother. It was a badger showing the badger not caring about anything. He don't give a crap about anything. Him.
No.
Did I miss it wrong again? What is it then?
So the joke of the badger was someone from the family. The house said, "Master is just like the badger. He don't give a crap about nothing."
Okay, it was about me. And I was the badger because the badger didn't give a crap, and I really don't give a crap. So they said I was the badger.
And then at the end, the badger takes on anything, and he just don't give a crap. And then he gets bit by snakes, and with badger, the poison knocks them out, but they wake back up.
He's fighting a cobra. He gets bit by a cobra, and the poison doesn't hurt the snake, so he passes out, and then wakes back. Well, he killed the snake after he got bit. He got bit, killed the snake, started eating it, but fell asleep with part of the snake in his mouth. And then woke up from the poison and then started chewing the snake again. Like, Well, they said that was me because I get so tired sometimes that I'll be eating dinner and literally that person who falls with his face in the plate, that's me. I'll be eating them, but and I'll wake up, they're like, "Master," and I got rice on my face, like, huh? Because you fall asleep with food in your mouth, you just start resuming chewing again. You're like, huh? What's going on? I'm like, you have rice on your face. You're still chewing the rice. You might want to clear out your eye because you got slap your mama right by your eye. That's me. So then he follows me everywhere I go. So he's named the baby badger.
Now that's just the eating portion, but the other badger characteristic, he matches like a lot of them. So we were just like, he don't give a crap attitude, and baby badger's the same way. He just does, and he don't care. He get hurt, he get back up. He don't care.
I really don't give a crap.
Does stuff.
It's one of those things. If I serve my master, I'm content and I'm happy. If I'm serving him, I think that's what we all should, be about. Not serving. You're not here to serve me. Each man is here to serve Yah. Each sister is here to serve her husband. That's what this is about. This is a family channel. I mean, my family channel. No, my speech may not be family orientated, but this is a channel that's supposed to build families. Families coming together and families overcoming these crises crises together. Families coming through this coronavirus, this economic situation, our food instability. Families coming together. Not because these situations tend to break families apart. The stress and all that. No, this is where the families are galvanized. The families are no time to be flamboyant. This is a time for the families to come together and work together to overcome these crises we have before us. Money, you're not coming this way, son. You're going that way. That's what this is a time for.
No.
Family. The coming together. The order.
No, watch out.
That's what this is about. And that's why I talk about these things on my channel. If you look at my channel, even though the things that I talk about may not be popular or some, like, polygyny or stuff like that, it's all about family. It's all about family. Biblical family. Biblically overcoming these things together. Living this life. Coming together, and then once you have your family, come together with other families. Have other families around you for community, for fellowship. Having real seriousness in what we're doing. Instead of the abstract lifestyles that we are being taught by this culture that we currently live in. And all it takes is one of us to make a huge, humongous change for so many around us. It just takes one of us. It takes one of you to make a huge, phenomenal change, to change your family. And thus, many, many others will follow in your stead. I see this more like the version of Yahshua, where he helped, he taught the disciples and the disciples went. I was taught, I went. So many people today want to teach you and have you stay right there with them and under them the whole time. No, taught, go. Now you go teach. You go be an example. And I'm not even saying I'm that person who's teaching. I'm not saying that because I was taught. I'm saying all of us have this YouTube, all of us have this in us. If any of you have channels and you post stuff on your channels, let me know so I can go and learn from you. So I can support you. Let me know. So I can do a shout out so people can go and learn whatever skill that you have. That's what this is about. That's what this is about. Not time for pride or any of that. It's a time for us to really make some serious moves, especially if we say we believe that these things are real. And I do. I believe the Bible, and I believe that these things are real. I believe that coming out of her is one of the, most loudest answers that we have. I believe that women joining unto men being covered is one of the greatest answers that she has. It is the answer. Join unto a family, join unto a man, have a covering. The same way each one of us men needs to have a covering. Yeah. Without a covering, when it rains, we get wet. Okay. With that being said, With that being said, that's all I got for the day. That's all I got for the night. I hope you have a blessed week. Have a productive week. Keep your eyes open. Keep your ears open. Be aware. Be prudent. Foresee the evil. Hide yourself. Do the things that you need to do to prepare yourself. With that being said, thank you all for being here. 3 hours and 23 minutes. I said this is going to be a short stream. I'm working on it. Bless you all. Have a blessed work week. I may do some videos this week. They'll probably be more coronavirus oriented to see any spreads or anything like that. Different moves. I'm gonna try to hit a Walmart and do a video at a Walmart to see what the shelves are looking like. Please take some action. Not in fear, not in panic, but urgent. Be urgent. Bless you all. Hallelujah. Praise Yah. For he is worthy. He is worthy of this time that we give him. Is there a men's group? We don't have a men's group yet. I have people ask for it. Yeah, I may not do one. Something I'm more. The reason I did a sisters group because I wanted for us men, we can talk, but for a lot of sisters, whenever they talk, like women, like, you know, women want to be able to have a place to talk without the judgment of other men coming in and calling them whores or stupid or devils. I mean, there needs to be there needs to be a place for them to learn and to help each other without being called the names by men. That's why there's a sisters group, a safe place for them to be able to share their issues and talk to each other and be edified by each other without men doing what sometimes those men do. And a safe place for women who are submitted and holy and set apart to do it without any worry of the outside world. That's why there's a sisters group. So I don't know if there's ever going to be a men's group, because as a man, you should feel free to talk without the fear of talking. So yeah, yeah. You know, those that are advanced in certain areas, they could share stuff. You know, men come out, you're teaching other men, you know, talking to women. So the women's like, I wasn't even talking to men, I was talking to other women. But so now they're all talking to women, so it's a safe place for them now. Group, I kind of see all of our streams kind of as a men's group with women there, and they communicate and they add into with the approval of their heads, and they're not talking to men, they're not teaching men, they're helping other sisters. So I don't know if I'll ever be a men's group, but we'll see. All right. Anyways, bless you all. Have a blessed work week. Praise Yah. Let's move forward, y'all. All right. Shalom.
Shalom.
Oh, shalom.